Biggest professional wrestling event of the year.
If you've ever wanted to know where the best place to watch WrestleMania is, right here. I've got a live show there, Insight Live, on the Thursday night.
Pro wrestling at its best.
Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
See you there.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
All right, last look at your traffic and weather for your ride in on this Thursday morning. Couple different accidents to report. One at Percival and Screaming Eagle. Another one at I-77 southbound at Percival and Garner's Ferry. One at I-20 westbound after Wilson Boulevard. Hard scrabble at Farrow Road. And finally, hard scrabble near Jasmine Place Drive. A lot warmer today, high of 81. Tomorrow, high of 88. Back into the 60s on Saturday with some clouds. There's your traffic and weather for your Thursday here on The Game.
Text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh.
Oh, 9 o'clock on your Thursday morning. Welcome in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri along with you here. Jack Veltri back in studio. I did think right before we went on, I'm like, Jack is here, right? He didn't tell me any different.
No, he's here.
Yeah.
He's here in the flesh. So, hey, Tyler. How's it going, man?
Good. You're probably a little happier this morning. The Yankees got off to a 1-0 start last night after a shutout of the Giants on... I guess yesterday's not opening day, right? It was the opening game of the season, but like it was not a day of opening. We had one game at 8 o'clock. Like today feels more like opening day because you at least have more baseball across the sport to take in.
And the problem is it's not even all 30 teams playing today. Like
it's that weird thing they do where some teams play.
Some teams are playing. Some teams start tomorrow. It's not every team. Most teams are playing today, but it's weird the way they've done it. We'll definitely talk more about last night
because you have some thoughts on the Netflix broadcast.
I think everyone does, right? I think there was just a lot going on last night. But yeah, I mean, last night was definitely the way I phrased it, because I wrote the Gamecocks and the MLB story for this morning. But I phrased it as Wednesday was opening night. And then today is opening day. So, we'll see. I mean, and then, the Yankees have their home opener next Friday, which really is like the start of the season for me. So,
I think it also hurts in the fact that we don't have like nationally broadcast games all day. Like today, Pirates and Mets are at 1:15 on NBC, but everything else is exclusive unless you have MLB.TV until 8:30 tonight with the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers also on NBC. Like I feel like opening day should be a full day of games from a 1 o'clock start all the way to like a late game at 10, like on like ESPN or like one of these national channels that everybody can watch. You know what I mean? Like it feels,
you
feels
would prefer
stop-starty.
You would prefer that. Would you want to see? Because I know sometimes with these nationally televised games, they'll also do it on the local network. So you would just rather see like ESPN as a game, Fox as a game. Like
I think you can still do it on the local networks too. But like because again, I'm a Braves fan. You're a Yankees fan. We're gonna watch our specific teams. But in terms of like getting into the mood of the season, I think like opening day should be like wall to wall games that you can watch nationally without like needing this MLB.TV subscription from ESPN or whatever.
I agree. I get that for sure. And, I mean, look, they're doing the NBC broadcast for, Skeens pitching against the Mets. That's really cool to see. And then obviously tonight, you said the Dodgers get their rings. Did you see they renamed Dodger Stadium? I can't remember the name of it's something Field at Dodger Stadium. Did you see that?
I did not. I thought you were going to tell me that Dodger Stadium finally got a corporate sponsor because they're one of the
corporate sponsor for the field.
You're right, but it's not the stadium itself is not. It's still Dodger Stadium.
So it's Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium.
Okay.
It marks the first time in the 64-year history of the ballpark that the field finds itself having a corporate sponsor. So
that was always one of my fun trivia questions for people is name all the MLB stadiums that don't have a corporate sponsorship because there's not a lot. There's only a handful of them.
Yeah, Yankee Stadium's one of the last ones standing.
But Kauffman still doesn't have one, right?
Kauffman Stadium doesn't have one. Fenway doesn't have one. Fenway doesn't have one. Yankee, let's see if we can really run through this. Oh, man, feels like most of them do.
Yeah.
Dodgers are now out of the picture.
That might be it now.
Shoot. That's a great trivia question.
A few years ago, there was more.
Definitely more, but I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to really think, but most of them now are just But hey, that's how you pay the bills, and almost every team now, I think, has a corporate sponsor on their jersey. I think the Rays were one of the last ones.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's money, it's revenue. I get it. I can guarantee you most people aren't going to be saying Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. It will still be Dodger Stadium to most people.
Yeah, but look it up because it's they literally have signage around the ballpark now that says Uniqlo Field.
Oh, sure.
At Dodger Stadium. It's
they paid for it, so they're going to do that.
Yeah.
But that is something that the broadcast will say, but I don't think it's ever going to become the common vernacular when referring to Dodgers. If you don't have the naming rights right from the jump, a lot of people still call Truist Park SunTrust Park because that's what
SunTrust. Oh my gosh. I forgot. I'm now in the camp of just calling it Truist Park.
Yeah, I know. But I've gotten used to it.
Because it's two corporate sponsors. So
sure. It's the same thing. They just changed their name.
Yeah.
Within the realm of banking.
Yeah. With the NBA, do you call the Lakers home arena Staples Center
Still the Staples Center.
Or Crypto.com arena?
I know it's Crypto.com arena. I still call it the Staples Center.
Yeah.
Because it was the Staples Center for 30 years.
God, or what do they call the Saints Stadium now? It's Caesars Palace or something?
The Caesars Palace Superdome. Because it used to be the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Yes.
Now it's Caesars Palace. Again, it's the Superdome. We leave it at that.
Man. We'll talk more about everything that happened last night later on, but
yeah. Yankees getting off to the 1-0 start after shutting down the Giants last night. 7-0. We'll give our thoughts on the Netflix broadcast as the show goes along, but it is time to hit our 9 a.m. Sandstorm Pick-Me-Up.
Time to get hyped. Here's your 9 a.m. Sandstorm, sponsored by George Sink Injury Lawyers. Just call all nines.
It is time for your 9 a.m. Sandstorm Pick-Me-Up, brought to you by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you've been hurt in the car or at work, call George Sink now at 803 all nines. Jack, I've not done a lot of scouring on the internet since I've woke up this morning. Has Palmineri said anything else about his time in South Carolina that we need to address today?
No, I think we could start turning the page on the Palmineri era, at least for the next month. Because, man, one way or another, there's going to be something that happens heading into that LSU series. I know we didn't get to. I did want to ask Koki about this. What are the odds we see Palmineri in Baton Rouge for that South Carolina LSU series? And is he the one throwing out the first pitch, bringing out the lineup card for LSU? Is he going to be dressed in blue and gold in the LSU dugout?
Certainly not going to be in garnet and black. I can tell you that much.
Or is he going to wear one of those split jerseys with LSU on one side, South Carolina on the other? I think honestly, I'm just kind of glad it's all just over at this point, man. it was a lot.
LSU's actually playing at home this weekend against Kentucky. You think he's going to be there for that?
I don't know. I mean, did he hitch a ride back with the LSU softball team to get back to, or even Southern, because they're in Louisiana when they lost to South Carolina. So,
Do you think he took anything from his 2-bedroom apartment? Or do you think
honestly,
everything's just still here?
Honestly, did he even bring anything? Because
well, and there are certain apartment complexes that come furnished.
That's true.
The really nice ones. So I don't think Maneri had to get a U-Haul to get a couch or a bed over here. I'm sure he has a very nice house in Baton Rouge that he's probably happy to be back. But yeah, he's probably got an apartment that was already furnished, or he just rented some furniture, knowing he wasn't going to be here forever. And yeah, I don't think he took too many things with him back to LSU, if I'm gonna take a wild guess.
I'm just surprised he didn't bunk with Rooney or Monty Lee or something. So
well, I'm kidding. Considering how close knit he and Terry Rooney are, they would be perfect roommates. He wouldn't have been as alone then, right?
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have been so alone. I just thought it was always weird how his wife didn't come. His kids are all older now, so I mean, it's not that's not there's no need for the kids to come. I'm just surprised the wife didn't come from Baton Rouge, but I get it. You got your whole life there, you got the house there still. I think Paul just always knew this. It's a 5-year contract, but I think he always knew this was just not going to be, even if it had ended up successful.
Yeah.
I think he always knew this was not going to be more than just a couple of years.
I will say, and Koki mentioned this when he was talking to us yesterday, I assumed Maneri made more trips to Baton Rouge than what Koki said, because apparently Koki said he didn't go back and forth as often, because I thought he spent a lot of his year in Baton Rouge and just came here, when he needed to be here, but apparently that wasn't the case. And, again, I'm not defending Maneri here, but I can understand that when you're multiple states away from your family and, their lives are going on and your grandkids are growing up and all that kind of stuff. I can understand that feeling that, he was feeling left out and, he was missing out on all that. So, again, I'm not justifying why he did what he did, but I can, in the human emotion sense, I can understand that loneliness that, he was talking about there as being a real thing.
Again, why take the job? I understand he had the itch to be in baseball again, and he was, finally healthy and everything. But, man, I mean, he really, but I don't even blame Paul. Honestly, looking back at this whole thing, I really don't blame Paul. If there's any blame to go around, and I hate to say it, but I think it does fall on the shoulders of Ray Tanner, and more so, honestly, the administration, the board of trustees, for not just turning that down. I think anyone with 2 eyes could have seen that this might not work out, because he's been out of baseball for a few years. The game has changed. He's got no experience with NIL. He even admitted it in the first press conference. He's going to learn it, all this and that, the transfer portal. How did they not see this being a mistake? I get it. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's been to Omaha so many times. The game changed drastically from 2021 when he was last in it to 2024 when he was coming back and not coaching until 25. So, I don't know. It just feels like a disaster really could have been avoided. But, that's what happens. But mistake has been hopefully learned now, and they can make a real good hire here coming up this offseason.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if, the article with Riley the other day that we talked about yesterday with him on the show is kind of the last we hear of Maneri for a while. Again, I don't doubt that he's going to be at LSU baseball games, and that certainly will drop some conversation when Carolina goes there towards the end of the regular season, or if it's like he goes down the bitter ex-girlfriend path of always just continuing to talk about how much he didn't like the fans and media.
That's going to happen.
You think that's going to happen?
Because it's going to be so ironic, because he just says that the 80-game stretch, it's just a little error. It's not going to have any effect on my career. Then he's going to be the one that always talks about it. Honestly, man, you know what actually would not be surprising at all? When South Carolina does go to LSU in May, when the SEC Network Plus broadcast is going on there, it'll be the LSU hometown announcers or whatever.
Right.
I would bet they'll have Maneri on for a segment, or have him broadcast one of the games. LSU's going to find some way to get him involved in that weekend. Like, make no mistake about it.
No doubt. Well, now that Maneri is gone and hopefully going to stay quiet for a while, we can truly move on to the Monty Lee era. He spoke last night in Carolina Calls about working on things ahead of this weekend series against Georgia. We'll dive into what he had to say coming up next. It is The Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Feltry on your Thursday on The Game.
All my sports.
The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today by dialing pound 250 and use keyword QC Kinetics.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
At AAA Heating and Air, home comfort is their top priority. Call today to schedule a seasonal maintenance appointment. Let AAA Heating and Air's qualified technicians put your mind at ease with a thorough inspection and cleaning of your heating and cooling system. Join their popular AAA Comfort Club to take advantage of extras like flexible visits, added discounts, and priority scheduling. AAA Heating and Air also offers indoor air quality products. These products work with your HVAC system to improve your home's air quality. Cleaning the air eliminates common household odors, removes allergens and pollutants, and can even improve sleep and reduce the spread of some viruses. So go to callAAAtoday.com for more info. Again, that is callAAAtoday.com for more info. Tell them Jack from 107.5 The Game sent you on over.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-902-5454. That's 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because Rhino Shield is backed by a 25-year warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call at 833-RHINO-99. Call now and receive 15% off the regular price. Or go to RhinoShieldCarolina.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
Call now, 833-RHINO-99 for your 15% off. Or go to RhinoShieldCarolina.com.
Sponsored by Woodman Life, protecting hardworking families with life insurance.
Woodman Life believes every hardworking American deserves to leave a legacy. Life insurance helps protect the people you love and the future you've worked hard to build, so your story lives on. Get your quote at woodmanlife.org. Woodman Life is the brand name for Women of the World Life Insurance Society in Omaha, Nebraska. Ad number A0136.
100.5
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
The Extra Point with Tyler Head and Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. Extra Point. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri with you here on your Thursday on the Game. Again, Gamecock Baseball's got a big series this weekend as they head on the road to Athens to take on Georgia, a team that's very good on offense. We'll dive more specifically into that matchup coming up tomorrow. But last night in Carolina Calls, Monty Lee, now obviously taking over for Paul Mainieri, spoke about the ability to just get out there and start practicing a little bit this week as they had their first practice day yesterday after having a couple games and a day off. Here's what he had to say about things they're working on as they move forward.
We really just tried to install as many different team fundamentals as we possibly could in a short amount of time. Just things that we need to be able to put in and run over the course of the game. Bunt defenses, first and third defenses, just infield alignments, just different things that I've done, over my time when I was a head coach before. That's the way that I do things, and just wanted to make sure that the whole team was on the same page in regards to how we're going to do those items, and we had a great practice. The guys were really bought in, practiced hard, and really just excited about the opportunity to move forward and hopefully find ways to play better baseball.
And this is the tricky part now, that you're trying to change things in the middle of the season. We talked to Trey Dyson yesterday on the halftime show, and again, a lot of your work gets put in the fall, in the lead up to the season, in terms of your identity offensively, pitching, defensively, and all that kind of stuff. So changing things mid-season is very hard, because it's clear that Monty Lee and Paul Mainieri had very different philosophies when it came to plate approach, and we saw some differences in that over the weekend when Carolina played better games in the second and third game against Arkansas. But implementing that across the board is not an easy thing to do for Monty Lee.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's going to take a little bit of time, I think, to really get this whole thing going, I think, because the schedule is also just going to be really tough here moving forward. Like, you got Georgia this weekend, you got Texas next weekend, you go to Missouri. I mean, Missouri is playing better, I would say. Better than last year for sure. But, for South Carolina, I don't know. I think just offensively, we saw on Tuesday, it was a little bit tough to get things going against really good pitching, and that's just the fact of the matter is I think South Carolina's got some dudes offensively. There's going to be some good games in there. There's also going to be some games like Tuesday where they're striking out a lot. But I think it's also just par for the course with trying to implement a different style of offense during the middle of the season. Like, there's only so many, like in football, like when South Carolina, switched offensive coordinators, you can't make a ton of wholesale changes to the offense with, a month left to go in the season. Now you got 2 months left to go for the baseball season here, and that's half the season in terms of the schedule. So you have a little bit of time to figure things out. But I think for Monty, I think the approach moving forward is going to be a little bit different in that we're seeing guys take more pitches. They're being more selective at the plate. They're okay with taking a walk, because honestly, when you really think about it, what's the difference between a single and a walk? You get on base anyway,
yeah,
right?
There's not.
No, there's not. If anything, you're actually seeing more pitches at the plate, and you're working a pitcher and you're knocking that guy out of the game early, and then you're diving into the bullpen. And that's honestly what South Carolina did perfectly against Arkansas, even under Mainieri. They did that like exquisitely under, against Aiden Canuck in that Friday Clemson game. So the more of that we see, I think the better chance this offense is going to have to be successful. But, the strikeouts piled up on Tuesday, and Just really, they hit a few balls hard, but really wasn't carrying. Hopefully, I don't know what the weather's going to be in Athens yet this weekend, but I can imagine if it's probably going to be a little bit warmer, so hopefully the ball's carrying, but at the same time, that might also mean Georgia is going to have some good swings out there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. It shouldn't be too terribly different. Yeah, it's going to be 84 on Friday, very warm, 65 Saturday, 67 on Sunday, so a little bit cooler in the later 2 days, but should still see the ball carry, pretty well. And again, Monty Lee talks so much about those quality at bats, and we've introduced the Monty metrics now that will kind of judge games offensively on going forward, and making sure, because he said that magic number is about 50%. If you can have 50% quality at bats, you're going to put yourself in position to win the game. And he didn't specify, and maybe when you guys talk to him this weekend, you can get a little more specifics on what he looks for in terms of quality at bats. But I look at it from a productive standpoint. Are you getting on base? Are you moving runners? Did you work a pitcher really deep into a count? Where he had to throw you 12 pitches or something like that. Like, those to me are quality at bats. And maybe there's a couple of other metrics that he throws in there. But I think, like, watching the game the other night, by my count, you had 9 out of 34. Attempts at the plate be productive at bats. That's not enough to get it done. I'm interested to see if that number goes up as these games go by.
Yeah, and I'm just glad to see, let's call it for what it is. Just, it was Mainieri's approach over the last year and a half, and not really letting Monty do what he is paid to do as one of the highest paid assistant coaches in college baseball, to be the hitting coach for this program. I mean, you got to go back to 2 years ago, that 23-24 season. I mean, Cade Crenshaw, who now is doing the full-time radio play-by-play.
Stuart Lake's got another job.
Yeah, as Stuart Lake leaves for another job. But yeah, Cade brought up some really good numbers the other day. Back-to-back 100-plus home run seasons in 23 and 24. First time that happened since 08-09. Totaled 952 runs. Most since 09 and 10, most walks in a 2-year span in South Carolina history, and stole 58-plus bags in back-to-back seasons, most since 04-05. Now, I don't think you're going to get a ton of stolen bases with this team. You may run a little bit, but that's just not how this team was built. But I think in terms of the walks, the runs, and the home runs, that's a lot to ask for. But I'm really interested, when it's all said and done, just to kind of see, if we can find it, the difference in the pre-Monty taking over numbers versus the post-Lee taking over numbers, because I think that's really going to be where you see that, like, oh, yeah, it really wasn't all Monty's fault. It was Mainieri not really letting him do what he's supposed to do, being the hitting coach, and now you're seeing a big difference. Hopefully that's the case here. Hopefully there is a noticeable difference moving forward, because if you're hitting the way like you did on Sunday against Arkansas, you have a chance in a lot of games.
Yeah, and look, North Carolina's a really good team, top 5 team for a reason, really good pitching staff, as we saw the other night. So I'm not excusing it, but that is a really good staff you're going up against, and that is in line with a lot of things you're going to see in conference play on a week-in, week-out basis. But in a now 3-game sample size, we've seen 2 good games and 1 bad game, right? You should have won the Saturday game against Arkansas if KJ Scobie can make that throw over to third base. And it goes back to what we talked about on Monday, where it just kind of feels like there's a new energy and excitement, or it's kind of like you started a new season, right? You're only 3 games in. Yeah, you're 1-2, but you were in position to win that game on Saturday against Arkansas. And I feel a lot more optimistic going into this weekend against a really good Georgia team than I would have if Mainieri was still there. Yeah. Right, and again, you're only 6 games into conference play. You got a ton of time to right the ship, and obviously make yourself or put yourself in that conversation for postseason play. And finding a way to get 2 out of 3 this weekend will go a long way in that.
It would. I mean, I think it's going to be tough to take 2 of 3 this weekend. I know Georgia's lost 2 straight. They lost to Kennesaw State on Tuesday there in the midweek, but I don't really take a deep dive into that, just because Georgia's a really good team, and South Carolina, fortunately, does have good pitching, but I do worry that those guys might get rocked this weekend just by some really good Georgia offense, and I don't know. We'll see. I think finding a way to take 2 of 3 would be great, but honestly, man, just with the way things have already gone this year, I think you'd be okay with just taking 1 on the road. I think that would be okay as well, all things considered. You just don't want to get swept. That's the big thing.
And we'll preview that matchup coming up a little bit more tomorrow, but again, we reacted yesterday to Mainieri talking about the patience of the South Carolina fan base and South Carolina media when he was here for his 80 games. There's another big-name head coach that's talking about patience this week as well. We'll dive into that coming up next. It is The Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Feltry along with you here on your Thursday on The Game.
The Game phone lines at 803-404-6100. Sponsored by AAA Heating and Air. Now offering 12-month payment plans on all HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. Online at callAAAtoday.com.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-345-2789. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-345-2789. That's 800-345-2789 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-345-2789.
Hendrick. Why shop for a Chevy or GMC the way you always have when there's a better way? Shop the nation's #1 dealer group, Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Thousands of car buyers across Columbia have switched to Hendrick for a larger selection, better pricing, and an easier buying experience. Plus, buy now but make no payments for 3 months. You don't have to shop the old way anymore. Experience the Hendrick difference.
With approved credit, see dealer for details.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
At Average Al's Furniture Warehouse, our sofas have cushions, our tables have 4 legs, our recliners recline. So come on by for a perfectly average experience.
Cumulus Digital doesn't stop at average. We work with more than 4,000 local businesses every month, delivering campaigns that beat industry averages by over 25%, driving real, measurable growth. You're not average. Your results shouldn't be either. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-902-5454. That's 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
The Extra Point.
And the kick is good!
With Tyler Head and Jack Beltry from Gamecock Central. On the Game Network, the 107.5, the Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Welcome back in. Extra Point. Tyler Head, Jack Beltry, along with you here on your Thursday on the Game. Reminder, a week from tomorrow, it's the Game Spring Golf Classic over at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. Come hang out with us all day long and take part. The golf gun's going to make its return. The drinks will be provided by Saki's Morning Libations Bar, as well as the onion sausage provided by the Lexington Gamecock Club. If you want to take part, give Charwood a call at 803-755-2000 and press the number 2 to register. Again, that is 803-755-2000. Press the number 2 to sign up for the Game's Spring Golf Classic. Talking a lot about patience this week, stemming from the comments that Paul Mainieri made the other day to Koki Riley of NOLA.com and saying that, hey, the Carolina fan base and media was not patient enough with me through 80 games, even though he outright said in his opening press conference, hey, this isn't a long-term turnaround. We're going to jump right in and start winning, which obviously didn't happen. But I think it's interesting because Lane Kiffin, as LSU has begun spring practice, was talking yesterday at his media availability about asking for fan patience in his first year at LSU. Here's what he had to say.
And I thought our guys' energy level was high. I thought their excitement was there. Now we have a lot of work to do. You know, said that the first day that we got here, and now that we're into practice format, you know, things don't happen overnight. You know, it takes a lot of work to get a program up to an elite performing program level. And so we're making some first steps, but there's a ton of work to do. And like I said before, we've assembled a good roster, you know, but at the same time too, you know, there's a ton of work that goes into that to get program back up to where everybody around here wants it to be, and why the reason that we came here. You know, it was 7-6 last season. So within that comes change. Within that comes a lot of work, because that's a long jump to go to the level that I came here to get at, and all the people around the program want to be at.
All right, I have 2 questions coming off of that. One, we'll tie it locally here. If Paul Mainieri says something similar to that 2 years ago when he's introduced, like, hey guys, I know I'm a champion, I know I've been to Omaha a ton of times, but give me a minute here. Got to get my feet under me. Got to get back used to this game again, and then we hope we'll see success, you know, coming in the next couple of years. Are we as upset with how things go in 80 games if he says that outright instead of, hey, we're going to jump in, we're going to win right away, and I'll have you back in Omaha in no time?
Yes, I think things are a little bit different right now, because because everybody is using the clip of the, you know, this program's not in the doldrums, and, you know, I don't got a 3-year plan, I don't got a 5-year plan, I got a 1-year plan. Like, that clip has been used so much over the last 2 days since that story came out, because it completely contradicts everything Paul Mainieri had to say, which isn't really a surprise. But yeah, I think if he had kind of hammered more on the fact of, like, look, I've been out of the game for a few years, we're going to get this thing right, and we're going to have success, but, you know, I'm learning everything. I'm getting back into, you know, learning the NIL and the transfer portal for the first time. So, you know, once we get that figured out, we'll be off and rolling. If he had said that and the results were what they are, I don't think the criticism would be as bad. I don't think you would be using there would be no using of the clip of the 1-year plan thing that he said. He spoke way too soon on that. And I even remember last year when things were going really bad, that was brought up, and he was like, yeah, you know, he essentially regretted kind of saying the 1-year plan thing, because I don't know. But, you know, with Lane Kiffin, and that's a whole different situation. That LSU is supposed to be good at football, and patience is a little bit much to ask of with that fan base.
And that's my other part of this is, like, I don't think Lane Kiffin can say that with the situation that he's walking into. You made the entire college football season about yourself with the drama between, is he staying at Ole Miss, is he going? Again, in the last game of the regular season in the Egg Bowl, we're watching this not from the perspective of, oh, I hope this is a good game. It's, Is Lane Kiffin coaching his last game at Ole Miss? Turned out to be the case. And then his team darn near goes and plays for a national championship in the college football playoffs. So you made it all about you. You got your big bag to come to LSU. They're throwing you billions of dollars in resources, seemingly. I don't think you can sit there and say, hey guys, wait a minute. Hold on, give me some time here. Like, no, you were not brought in here to take your time. You were brought in to win immediately.
We've got some breaking LSU news, by the way.
Did it happen?
Will Wade is expected to leave for LSU per Pete Nakos and Joe Tipton. So speaking of LSU.
Hold on. They haven't fired Matt McMahon yet, though, right?
I think the plan, from what I read.
Can you have two coaches?
Yeah, keep him on as an assistant. The plan was if Wade stayed at North Carolina State, then Matt McMahon would be back at LSU for next year. But since Will Wade's going back to LSU, then Matt McMahon's out of a job. Maybe Matt McMahon can go be the coach at NC State. But man,
can they trade, just swap coaches?
I know. Sorry to cut off the Kiffin part,
well,
but
it is still LSU.
Talk about lack of patience. LSU basketball is not messing around. Now that's crazy, man, because Will Wade, he didn't have a great year at NC State, but like NC State fans were so excited for him to be there when he came in this past season. And man, now he's just up and leaving for LSU, going back to Baton Rouge. That's crazy news.
Didn't Will Wade make it known that he just didn't think he had a good team this year? Like through their comments and stuff.
Kind of.
And again, they got bounced in the first four by Texas, last week. But I think he was making it kind of like clear, like, hey, kind of like Maneri last year, like, hey, I don't have the horses to fight with right now, so don't hold this season against me type of thing.
Yeah.
Because getting to NC State was him getting back into big coaching again at the Power 4 rank. Because again, he got fired at LSU with the wiretap thing a couple years ago. And I say this every time we bring up Will Wade. What he did then is now legal. So it's not like Arkansas brought back Bobby Petrino. Like, it's not that same type of thing where, like, what he did with the wiretapping and all that kind of stuff, the strong bleep offers, like, that stuff can fly today. So it's not like you're hiring a criminal back. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm looking it up to see what Will Wade. So
now, and who was reporting this?
Joe Tipton and Pete Nakos.
Okay.
So Will Wade's buyout at NC State is $5 million if he leaves for another job. Before April 1st, it would have dropped down to $3 million after April 1st. So LSU, I'm sure, is going to pay that buyout and get him to come back to Baton Rouge. And, man, I feel bad for NC State because now they're just left without a coach. And
I want to go back to the Matt McMahon thing, though, because, like, if you're him, you're still the coach of the LSU men's basketball team.
Have we seen anything that just says that Matt McMahon's been fired? Because that's kind of LSU leading him on in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, like if we don't get the pretty girlfriend, we'll settle for you.
Here's from Nakos' story. It says LSU has yet to formally notify Matt McMahon of his future with the Tigers. That sources tell On3's Joe Tipton. And I get it. He went into the offseason knowing that his seat was really hot and there was a chance this was going to happen, but he still hasn't been. Like, this is such a rare instance of, like, it seems like they have the other coach lined up while still employing the current coach. This is very odd.
Like, if something, and it says in the story, barring something unforeseen, he will leave for LSU. Now, what if something unforeseen does happen and Will Wade ends up not going to LSU? This is going to be, if it does not actually, it'll probably end up happening. But let's just say for some reason it doesn't. Will Wade is stuck at NC State and Matt McMahon is stuck at LSU. That would be the funniest thing. Because it's like you have a coach that is not wanted at LSU, but he's back there anyway. And then at NC State, it's kind of the same situation, except that fan base is going to despise him now because he was ready to up and leave for another job.
If that scenario played out, let's just say the NC State boosters just throw a ton of money at Will Wade to get him to stay, NIL resources and all that kind of stuff. And then LSU's like, okay, hey, Matt, we'll keep riding with you. Like, Is there a way, infidelity is maybe not the best word to describe it, but it's the thing that's coming to mind here, where Matt McMahon has a case of like LSU being unfaithful by going behind his back with the Will Wade thing, to where he can like leverage a buyout from them and not have to coach for them? I don't know if that's possible or not. But
I don't know if it is.
This is so weird.
This is, oh man, this is crazy. I mean, that's some crazy news right there. Yeah. I mean, barring something unforeseen, like knowing how things work, like college sports, like it's just, you can't rule it out.
You can't. And look, Will Wade is a good basketball coach. There's a reason why, he was having success at LSU. Again, the FBI thing ultimately led to him being released from there. He gets McNeese to back-to-back tournaments. They beat Clemson a year ago. That's why he got the NC State job. And I don't deny that he would probably have success at NC State if he stayed there long enough. But, yeah, hey, who says you can't go home again, right?
No, definitely not.
And the president there was the president at NC State, or excuse me, at McNeese when he was at McNeese.
That's right.
So there's the tie there. So it makes all the sense in the world that it's going to happen, but just the way this is playing out is really, really funny.
I will say, I kind of hope that NC State goes out there and hires Matt McMahon. That would be
just a coach swap.
That would be the funniest. Oh my gosh, that's some crazy news for this morning, man.
Yeah,
I like it. I like having that to talk about.
I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen with Bill Self. We haven't gotten a confirmation on that either.
No, that would be. Would that wouldn't be a bigger job than North Carolina, right? I mean, Kansas is a blue blood too.
Those are, it's like 1A and 1B.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of basketball, let's get into talking about some Cinderellas on the other side as we wrap up hour number one. We'll also preview the Sweet 16 coming up in a little bit as well as we get back in action with that coming up tonight. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri on your Thursday on the Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Walk with 107.5 The Game on the American Heart Association Heart Walk, March 28th at Segra Park. Our goal is to raise $2,500 for the American Heart Association. Be a Heart Walk hero and please help. Go to 1075thegame.com to join in with us.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Major trouble in L.A. Ram star Puka Nacua is being sued for assault and battery after a wild New Year's Eve outing. The allegations? Hate speech and biting? A Los Angeles woman claims Nacua made anti-Semitic remarks before forcibly biting her shoulder. Nakua's lawyers calling it horseplay, and millions of dollars are now on the line. I'm Drake Toll.
Pollen season is here, so don't let your automobile turn into a pollen-mobile. Swing by Tidal Wave Auto Spa and wash it away with a top-of-the-line wash. Plus, enjoy free vacuums, microfiber towels, and interior cleaning spray with every visit. With our GraphX4 Shine technology, your car leaves cleaner and shinier in minutes. It's fast, easy, and leaves you with that clean car happy feeling every time. Get back on the road and shining bright. Find a location near you at TidalWaveAutospa.com.
You know that Chick-fil-A sells more than chicken, right?
Hello, my name is Jaleesa, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit is how it's all of my favorite breakfast items in one good bite. That fluffy egg, that melty cheese with that perfectly grilled sausage. It just gives you that warmth, that comfort food that you love. It is the best possible option for a classic breakfast.
Comfort is calling. Order a Chick-fil-A sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit with Simply Orange juice on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let him know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Rain-X wipers are the #1 wiper blades in America. That means all kinds of drivers choose Rain-X. Big drivers in small cars choose Rain-X. Small drivers in big cars choose Rain-X. Drivers with long hair and short commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with short hair and long commutes choose Rain-X. Drivers with pets on board, babies on board, and board babies on board choose Rain-X. Basically, drivers who love a clear view of the road all choose Rain-X wipers, the #1 wiper blades in America.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at radiodirect.com/privacy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelty. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelty can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelty?
Just send them a text.
Text BEST to 797979 to get started today with Zelty. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text BEST to 797979 for a link to your exclusive offer. Text BEST to 797979. That's BEST to 797979.
These statements and products have not been evaluated or approved by the FDA for weight loss.
The Extra Point.
And the kick is good!
With Tyler Head and Jack Beltry from Gamecock Central on the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Beltry along with you here on your Thursday on the Game. Again, the Sweet 16 gets rolling. Coming up later tonight, we'll preview some of those games coming up in hour number 2. But Jack, through the first couple rounds of the NCAA tournament, we're once again hearing the question be asked, is Cinderella truly dead? Now, this was kind of a big topic of conversation in last year's tournament where a lot of it was very chalky. Of course, your 4 number 1 seeds ended up being the 4 teams making it to the Final Four. We saw some upsets in the early rounds, but all those teams have been filtered out now as we get into the Sweet 16. And your closest thing to a Cinderella is Texas at number 11, and nobody looks at Texas as a plucky underdog story by any means. So are we done with Cinderellas? Is it over with, or are we just overreacting?
I don't think Cinderellas are fully dead, but they're on their last legs, I think. Like, I think if this happens again next year, then I think Cinderellas are officially in the casket, ready to go into the ground. Like, it's just not it's tough, man. It's tough. I wish we were seeing some Cinderellas, but at the same time, I think the other, glass half full look at it is the upside is that we're getting really good teams going up against each other, which honestly is usually how it goes to begin with anyway. Like, by the Final Four, like, it's not every year you're going to see Loyola Chicago in the Final Four. Like, you're typically going to see the best teams get there by the end. So we're going to get some really good matchups this upcoming weekend here, starting tonight and then getting into tomorrow with the Sweet 16, and then from there the Elite Eight. So we'll get some really good matchups here, to kind of counteract not having Cinderellas.
And I love the upset stories as much as anybody. That is what makes those first couple rounds of the NCAA tournament a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed watching High Point, beat Wisconsin last Thursday or Friday, whenever that game was, to see them advance into the round of 32. But at the same time, as I watched the second round play out, I found myself just enjoying good basketball more than the storylines themselves. Yes, I would have loved to have seen High Point, beat Arkansas, get to play in the Sweet 16, but I didn't feel like I was robbed of anything with Arkansas winning, because Arkansas is a good team. Darius Acuff's maybe the best player in the tournament, still left standing, and we saw, again, crazy finishes, buzzer beaters, Iowa taking down, Florida. It's almost like we kind of have to readjust what our expectations are, and yeah, and to say dead, I think is maybe a little harsh.
A little extreme.
I just think it won't be as prevalent as it has been.
It's on life support. Let's do that. It's on life support right now. Yeah, look, that Arkansas, High Point's a good team, but Darius Acuff is definitely the best player in the tournament right now, and I think he's going to put on a good show against this Arizona team. I think Arkansas's got a. You stack up Arkansas going up against Arizona. Compared to High Point.
Sure.
High Point doesn't have a chance against Arizona. Arkansas can go out there and beat Arizona. No doubt about it. They have the talent the athleticism, the players. They have the best player on the floor, which will always give them a chance. But this is a very talented Arkansas team. Again, I was very impressed a few months ago seeing them play against South Carolina. And then the last few games here in the SEC tournament and now March Madness, they've looked very good so far. And, I mean, Arizona typically does not get, to where they need to be. And I don't know if I see it as a 1 seed this year winning it all.
I was listening the other day to Westwood One, and Rob Doust of Field of 68 was on a show, and they asked him the question about Cinderellas and why they're not as prevalent in this day and age. And again, everybody points to NIL and the portal and all that kind of stuff, and that's true to a degree. And he pointed out, in years past, you'd see these upsets, and you'd look at that mid-major team that's full of a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds that have played a lot of college basketball, had been together for a couple years, and that's not the case anymore. And when you're looking at some of these blue blood powerhouse teams, there's more incentive for those guys to stick around for more than a year or two because of the ability to have NIL and stuff now, where some guys may have taken the option to go play internationally after a couple years just to start making money, or guys try their hand at the NBA thinking they can make a team and all that kind of stuff too, where now you can make millions of dollars as a really high-end college basketball player. So you're seeing guys stick around for longer at these big programs. Obviously, they have the means and the resources to retain them to where when you're getting these matchups, that was always the knock on Calipari when he was, losing those first-round games. Like, well, those other teams just more experienced because he's got a lot of one-and-done guys that aren't here for a long time that don't have the tournament experience. So I just think you're seeing that change and shift, and I don't doubt that there's smaller teams that can't go on runs. It just won't be as prevalent as it has been before.
And the problem is that these small schools, for the most part, have kind of become like the feeder schools in terms of the farm systems to where they have good talent on these teams, but as soon as they get to be really good and reach their potential, they leave for the big schools, the big paydays. And that's the problem, is that they can't really compete in terms of retaining guys year after year. Some schools can, but you got to pony up NIL money, and it's a different ballgame now than it was 5 years ago. It's just changed so much in that way.
Well, it's going to be a fun night for Sweet 16. We'll get into previewing those matchups coming up next. It is the Extra Point, Tyler Head and Jack Beltry on your Thursday on the Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at herndonchevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
If you've ever been to a Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, you know there's something different about the people who work there. They're the type of people who mail a wallet they found on the street back to the owner, who always share their fries, who say bless you when you sneeze, even if it's like 5 sneezes in a row, who get just as excited when something good happens to you as if it happened to them. You know what? Maybe you should just stop by sometime and see for yourself. Palmetto Citizens. Feel the love. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi there, this is Steve Ard with Local Waste Service. The Ards have been in the waste business for over 60 years, and I want to introduce my new waste company, Local Waste Service. We are a locally owned company that provides front-end, roll-off service for all your waste needs. We also do recycling and compactors, so look us up at localwastesc.com. That's localwastesc.com.
Where your trash is our business.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Columbia business leader leaders. Ready to grow in 2026? Join us for Your Business, Your Customers, Your Growth. The 2026 Digital Seminar, April 30th at Hilton Garden Inn, 1200 Pickens Street. Choose the session that fits your schedule, 11:30 with lunch or 2:30 with light refreshments. Attend and get $1,500 in advertising credit to boost your brand on our Columbia Cumulus stations. And when you confirm your reservation, you'll also receive a custom audio or video from Podcast Studio 803. Seats are limited. Dial pound 250 keyword digital impact to RSVP today. Sponsored by Woodman Life, protecting hardworking families with life insurance.
Woodman Life reinvests in our communities through donations, volunteering, and supporting local programs. Our people and places are at the heart of everything we do. Get your life insurance quote at woodmanlife.org. Woodman Life is the brand name for Women of the World Life Insurance Society in Omaha, Nebraska. Ad number A0137.
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're a local South Carolina law firm dedicated to resolving your tax problems for good. Simply put, we solve tax problems. So if you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, or have years of unfiled tax returns, come meet with us in person. Your first visit is free and confidential. We'll show you how we will solve your problem and how much it'll cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It is time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina, so hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me, John Ecton.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
The Garnet Trust Hour with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head. Sponsored by Krantz Heating and Cooling. On the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back in. It is the Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. Tyler Head and Jack Veltri along with you here. Coming up in about 10 minutes, going to let you hear Wes Mitchell's conversation with Armando Neves, who's one of the new transfer offensive linemen coming over for New Mexico State. So he'll hop in with Wes for a couple segments coming up here in just a few minutes. But, Jack, we're back into basketball coming up tonight, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe need a nap this afternoon because if you want to stay up and watch all of it, it's going to be another late night. We're going to creep past midnight because the late game today between Illinois and Houston does tip off at 10:05. So, yeah, going to be another late night to watch all the games today.
Man, we're going to have a little bit to complain about here with this and then the Netflix broadcast from Major League Baseball last night. Why on earth is Arizona and Arkansas starting at 9:45 p.m.? Like, man, I'll stay up to watch it probably.
It's only 6:45 local time in San Jose.
I get it, man, but they got to know, man. A lot of their audience is on the East Coast. Like, I don't know. At least the Duke St. John's game tomorrow is starting at a respectable 7 p.m. But then you have tomorrow night, Michigan State, UConn, another great matchup. Tom Izzo, Dan Hurley, classic matchup. 9:45 p.m.
At least that's on a Friday.
If anything, they really should have done Texas and Purdue at 9:45 tonight and put Arizona, Arkansas, the big marquee matchup tonight at 7:10 p.m. But then also you have 7:35 Michigan, Alabama, then 10:10 Tennessee, Iowa State. Then, or that's tomorrow. Sorry, reading the wrong side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Illinois, Houston, 10:05 p.m. I mean, I get it. Nighttime. They want to have it that way. I get it. But why couldn't we just do one game? I know it's not convenient for everybody, but it's a better way to do it probably. One game to kick off the day at noon, and then a game at 3, and then the game at 7, and then the game at 10. I think that would easily be a better way because you're getting 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. I just don't see why that couldn't have been the solution here. Rather than let's put 2 games a piece at 7 o'clock and then 2 more at 10 o'clock p.m.
It all boils down to money, Jack.
Of course,
at the end of the day.
Of course it does.
Later games, more advertising revenue, and that's why we're in this situation. Regardless, however much of the basketball you can watch tonight, we do have some pretty compelling matchups. You mentioned Texas and Purdue. That'll be the first game. Iowa and Nebraska. Cornmageddon, round 3 coming up after that. Then Arkansas and Arizona, and then Illinois and Houston round out the night at 10:05 on TBS. Any of these matchups standing out to you as the most intriguing?
Yes, pretty easily. It's going to be Arizona, Arkansas tonight. That's going to be the big game to pay attention to tonight. And I think tomorrow is definitely Duke St. John's. I'm really looking forward to that Washington, D.C. side of the bracket with Duke St. John's and then Michigan State, UConn. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I think the best Elite Eight matchup would be. Part of me really does want to see Hurley and Pitino go up against each other for a 4th time this season with St. John's taking on UConn. But honestly, I think St. John's, Michigan State could be a really good matchup. Heck, I think Duke taking on either of those teams would be a really good matchup. But I really want to see Rick Pitino move on to the Elite Eight. I would like to see St. John's beat Duke tomorrow, and we'll see if that happens. But yes, the big matchup tonight, in my opinion, is definitely Arizona, Arkansas.
I'm intrigued, and I think that might be the best game overall. I'm very intrigued to see the atmosphere for Iowa and Nebraska. By the way, that is the highest priced ticket of any of the 4 games tonight. That'll be at the Toyota Center out there in Houston. Of course, Nebraska, who had never won a tournament game prior to this past weekend, now finds themselves in the Sweet 16. Iowa's not been there since 1999. Oh, by the way, these two fan bases don't like each other very much. They split their series during the regular season 1-1. Like, this should be a pretty cool environment for this game tonight.
No, it should be a good environment. I wish they were a little bit closer to where these schools are located.
Well, they seem to have traveled, though, if the tickets are that high.
It's a good point. How do we feel about Houston being basically in their backyard at the Toyota Center? I know Brad Underwood talked about it. Illinois' head coach talked about how it really doesn't matter that they have a home field or home court advantage. But do you think it ultimately really matters at the end of the day?
I don't. And look, Houston didn't decide this. This is where the games were slotted to be played, and they had no idea before the brackets were released that Houston was going to have the opportunity to have a de facto home game once they got in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And it's not as big of a deal in this situation because it's a 2 versus 3. People were making having conversations about it leading into the tournament that, if things go chalk, then Florida, as the 1 seed, would be going in to basically playing an away game in Houston against Houston if things hold serve. Obviously, Florida does not end up winning, so they don't have the opportunity to play Houston as the 1 seed. So Houston's the highest seed remaining on that end of the bracket. So I guess if you're going to say, well, they kind of earn the right to have that home field advantage then.
Yeah, to an extent. But again, it's just the way the bracket shaked out. It was not. It was out of their control, seemingly. But this feels like a year where I don't know. It just feels like Kelvin Sampson's best chance to finally.
Don't we say that all the time, though?
Yeah,
he was right there last year.
But I think the bracket plays out the best for him. Where if you get by Illinois, look. You can run into a hot team like Iowa and lose. That is certainly the case. Or Nebraska. But given the home court advantage to some degree, which I think does matter, it matters a little bit, I'd say. It's just from you don't have to travel, really. You get to sleep in your own bed. I think that kind of matters a little bit in this game. But, I think this is Houston's one of their best chances. They've been to the Final Four. Let's see, Kelvin Sampson's been to a Final Four 3 times, twice with Houston here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's possible they win this year. We'll see, but it kind of feels like we're waiting for Houston to finally return to glory, and we'll see if it happens this year.
It is a really interesting dynamic when you look at the makeup of coaches that are still left standing, as we go into the Sweet 16, because you have the Caliparis, the Patinos, the Izzos, the Hurleys that have all won national championships. You have the Kelvin Sampson that's done everything but win a national championship. You have a John Shire who's still very early on in his coaching tenure that keeps taking steps forward and getting closer and closer to eventually winning a national championship, as we all assume he's going to do at some point in his time at Duke. And then you have a guy like Ben McCollum, who's only in his second year coaching at D1, took Drake to the second round this past year. Now he's got Iowa in the Sweet 16 for the first time in over 25 years. And again, you just got a nice mix of these stories when it comes to coaches who are still left now.
You know what would be crazy? Would be crazy to see an Iowa State Final Four.
Oh man,
you want to talk about
in
like
Indianapolis?
That is where the Final Four.
They would pack out Lucas Oil Stadium. I don't doubt that.
That'd be nuts. And I don't think it's the craziest thing. I think Iowa State can certainly beat Tennessee. And then, I don't know. I mean, Michigan's a good team. Bama is very good too. I don't know, man. I mean, we could see some craziness, man. I mean, it's definitely going to be nuts. But you're right about the coaching. It is just it's like coaching legacy out here with just how many elite coaches there are, but also just how many elite teams there are. Again, going back to the whole Cinderella conversation, like, yes, it stinks that there's not that one or two teams that are still standing from the mid-majors, but I got to say, instead, we are getting some really great basketball matchups. And I think when the viewership's out, again, I know people are going to complain, including myself, about the late start times, but the viewership is going to be great for these games. Like, everyone's going to be up tonight watching that Arizona-Arkansas game. Tomorrow watching Michigan State UConn. Like, it's going to be really entertaining basketball the next 2 days. And this is where you get into the meat of the great teams going up against each other.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. Obviously, we'll react to the games that happen tonight and talk plenty about the games coming up tomorrow on the Friday edition of the Extra Point. But as I just mentioned, coming up next, Wes Mitchell sat down with Armando Neves, who is one of the transfer offensive linemen coming over from New Mexico State. Coming up next on the other side, we'll let you hear that conversation, learn a little bit more about another new player for South Carolina as spring practice rolls along. And again, he's in the mix like all these other guys are to maybe be a starter on the offensive line as we try and figure that position group out. So that conversation is coming up next. It is the Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing on your Thursday here on The Game.
Want to play the Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
If the Gamecocks hit a grand slam, you can win cash. It's the Crescent Construction Grand Slam Giveaway. If the Gamecocks don't hit a grand slam, the pot goes up $25 a game. Just go to 1075thegame.com to register. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying two phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
We know what it's like when you're injured. You hurt, you can't work, you can't pay your bills, and the insurance company won't return your calls. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're here for you when things go bad. We're local, resourceful, and have a proven record of success.
I'm Stephen Samuels. Our team is big enough to handle any case and small enough to care about each one.
We get South Carolina because we're true South Carolina. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more, or call them at 803-520-6837, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Are you considering a new roof or repairs but unsure where to start? Crescent Construction offers free roofing estimates to help you make informed decisions with ease. Our expert team is ready to assess your needs and provide comprehensive insights. Visit our website, crescentcarolina.com, to learn more about our services and schedule your free estimate today. Trust us to guide you through the process with professionalism and care. Don't wait. Contact us today at crescentcarolina.com.
The cost of higher ed seems higher than ever. So for most, there's a difference between what scholarships cover and what school really costs. Fortunately, South Carolina Student Loan has been helping students and families close that price tag gap for 50 years. We're here for you to help cover tuition, books, meals, housing, and other educational expenses. Plus, because we're a not-for-profit, we're able to offer competitive rates and flexible options. So get the money you need for school today at scstudentloan.org.
Columbia business leaders, ready to grow in 2026? Join us for your business, your customers, your growth. The 2026 Digital Seminar, April 30th at Hilton Garden Inn, 1200 Pickens Street. Choose the session that fits your schedule, 11:30 with lunch or 2:30 with light refreshments. Attend and get $1,500 in advertising credit to boost your brand on our Columbia Cumulus stations. And when you confirm your reservation, you'll also receive a custom audio or video from Podcast Studio 803. Seats are limited. Dial pound 250, keyword digital impact to RSVP today. The Garnet Trust Hour with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head. Sponsored by Krantz Heating and Cooling on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, everyone, welcome back into another episode of the Garnet Trust Hour, brought to you, as always, by Krantz Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. And we are joined now by another very special guest from Gamecock football. It is Armando Neves, a transfer senior who's been with the Gamecocks for, I guess, 2 or 3 months now here in Columbia. Armando, appreciate you taking the time today, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting to know a little bit about your journey, about your experience at South Carolina so far here. Like I said, a few months in. I know you guys are kind of in the midst of spring ball right now. I know you kind of completed the winter workout part, and now you're actually on the field. So for the fans out there listening, what can you tell them kind of about your experience so far and just how kind of this spring ball has gone so far, man?
No, the experience has been great. I mean, when I first got in here, it was a lot of great stuff. We did a bunch of great things in the winter. You know, my body's changed drastically, I would say, from when I first arrived here to now. And it's been going good. I mean, I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the staff and what we're doing. Spring ball has been, it's been going good. I really like, Coach Clem's teaching, Coach Smooth, the way, they're so detailed with everything and like how we need to have things done. So that's a really good thing. I'm learning a lot. And kind of, with Coach Browse and what we're doing, I really like it. We're playing fast. Things, explosives are happening. So it's good. It's been good.
Yeah, let's keep it right there. I know a lot of Gamecock fans are very just excited to see this offense. Obviously, they made a change on that side of the ball this past offseason for a reason. This is much more, it seems like, of a kind of college spread, up-tempo type offense. But without, like, giving away the schemes or anything, man, what can you tell us about what you've seen so far? And just how have you guys been able to, I guess, soak up and get comfortable with this scheme here in the early going, man?
It's been a pretty smooth transition, I would say, because before spring ball we had our like OTA type thing where we actually did the offense like after workouts on our own, like on air and stuff like that. So we kind of got down the idea of how fast it would be, how fast we have to play and stuff like that. And Coach Smooth and Coach Clem, they do a good job of like showing us like what we need to do and simplify everything down, so we're not just going out there and messing up, or there's just too much going on. Like they kind of organize everything so we can just go out there and play fast.
And you've mentioned Coach Clem and Coach Smooth a couple times. So that Smooth is Jason Smith, right? For everybody listening.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah.
Right. And so
everyone calls him Coach Smooth.
What's the dynamic? I know every coach kind of has their own personality, their own dynamic. I've heard those two guys like work very, very well together, but being in the room with them, being on the field with them, what's kind of the dynamic between their two personalities and kind of coaching styles in your eyes, man?
Yeah. So Coach Smooth and Coach Clem are I would say complete opposites in like energy and stuff like that. Like Coach Smith, I should say, he's very, energetic, loud, getting everyone going, stuff like that. Like he's the one yelling, all that type of stuff. And Coach Clem, he's more like detailed. He's looking, like he's explaining why we need to do, if it comes down to the point where he's like, he's got to yell, like he's going to yell, but at the same time, he's very, cool, calm, collected, like technique, like do that right, do this, let's do that. Coach Smooth, he's yelling at you like get to the ball, get up, come on, like let's go. He's getting everyone going. So it's two completely different opposites, but they work together so well.
Yeah, good dynamic with those two guys together. And it is a situation there with Clem where he has coached in this offensive scheme for like literally decades, like pretty much as long as you've been alive, man. So,
I think so, yeah.
Like literally, and a lot of that directly with Briles or kind of the Briles coaching tree. What do you think the advantages are, coming from an offensive line perspective to that your coach doesn't just know the technique of offensive line in general, but has been just so well-versed in this particular scheme? Do you see some advantages in that?
For sure. I mean, I think the big one is like he knows what works best. Like he's not gonna we're not gonna test things out like, oh, let's just try this out, let's see if it works. Like he knows like if we need to do certain thing on a certain play to get to what we need to do for the running back to read us, or just make it explosive, the quarterback gets the ball out fast enough, like we're gonna do exactly that. Like there's no doing your own thing. Like we're gonna do exactly what he says.
Let's go back in time a little bit, man. Your decision to come to South Carolina. And everybody kind of has a little different journey in terms of the transfer portal, how it plays out, the other schools you might be in consideration for. How did it kind of play out with South Carolina? Like, was it a quick process? Was it a long process? And what were the things about this program that ultimately made you pick here in terms of continuing your journey here in college ball?
Yeah. So for me, it was actually a quick process. So going into the transfer portal, out of New Mexico State, South Carolina was actually one of the first schools to reach out to me. And that goes back to, back when I was in junior college, during the spring of 24, I would say, I posted some spring highlights or something like that, just get coaches, just to see if coaches were interested. And South Carolina was actually the very first school to, DM me hey, can we get some, workout videos of you doing more things and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it started. I'm and nothing came out of it because I graduated in December of 24 because I had to stay there for the season. So nothing came out of that. But I was just man, how nice would it be to go to South Carolina? That's SEC. I always just had that in my mind. And, everything's supposed to work out the way it was. So them reaching out to me, being the first school and first visit set up, everything, I knew this is where I wanted to be.
And you're obviously not the only newcomer transfer in that room. It's kind of a completely different room. Guys coming from all different conferences, all different parts of the country, all different ways of life. How do you feel that is kind of one of the beauties of football is you have all these different backgrounds, all pushing towards one goal. But how have you guys kind of started to come together in terms of building that camaraderie, the cohesiveness, all those things you're looking for?
No, it's been great ever since we all got here. Obviously, I was late to being added on to here, and there was a couple other late ones. But going through winter workouts together, we have the grit night, we have carry what you kill on Fridays, where we have to pick a bag up. Basically, you're just dragging stuff around. That's just kind of how you bond, and we've always through everything, we kind of just talk. We joke around, all that type of stuff. Like it's not just we just sit down straight football. Like we're all getting close. And now the spring ball started. We're actually practicing. We're talking to each other, all that type of stuff. Like it's been going really good.
I've been doing these kind of transfer portal guy interviews for a long time, man. Everybody always talks about Coach Luke Day and kind of just the uniqueness of his workouts, uniqueness of his personality. And the funny thing about it is, man, it can be a guy who's transferred from NC State, from New Mexico State. It doesn't matter where they're coming from. They're always like, man, it's a little bit different than what I'm used to. So in your eyes and your experience, how have the Luke Day workouts been for you so far, man?
It's been good. I mean, I came here, pretty overweight. I enjoyed my winter break a little too much. Showed up at 3:33, and that was we got to work right away with that. So and doing what we were doing, it was very interesting. Like, I couldn't do it when I first got here. I couldn't do a lot of things they were doing. I'm not gonna lie. It was I was struggling a little bit. But as the months went on, I got on a good meal plan. Doing what I had to do. I got used to it. My numbers, skyrocketed, it's like on the field, tests and stuff like that, and in the weight room. And obviously I dropped my weight. I'm sitting at 310 right now. So my body's transformed a lot, and it goes all to them. So
awesome, man. So I know, again, this is a Garnet Trust interview and also one of the sponsors of this interview. I know you've been working with Energy by 5 through No Cap, and they've been supportive of you and several of your teammates from what I've heard. So what can you tell the fans out there just about Energy by 5 and what they can maybe do for other businesses if a business owner is listening?
Yes. So to start off with, I've been working with, Energy 5, but through No Cap Sports. And when a Gamecock business owner signs up through No Cap, revenue, they can save on energy costs. And, when you do that, a cut comes back to the football program and supports us. So, it's a win all around. So for sure.
And definitely want to ask any businesses, if that sounds intriguing to you, go check that out. They're supporting South Carolina athletes like Armando here. Man, you've been in the college game as it transitioned to where early on in your career, I guess NIL was probably a brand new thing, and now you guys are able to do interviews like this, and it's just changed completely. What has that been like to know you were in this thing probably in the biggest moment of change in college athletics history?
Yeah, it's definitely a cool thing for sure. Because I think my redshirt year, I think that was their first year doing it or their second year, and then where I was at a D2 school, so that's that I didn't see any of that. I didn't hear anything, but just kind of seeing the stuff. I'm like, wow, he has a Lambo or he has that. I'm just like, wow, all these guys. I mean, it's deserved. I personally think every athlete deserves it. So it's kind of cool, kind of seeing it. How it's been. So
yeah, and not just on the NIL side, man, but in terms of here at South Carolina, the weight room, the resources, the nutrition staff, just training. You mentioned you started D2, you did some JUCO years, New Mexico State, and I'm not saying anything bad about any of those other places, but just what can you tell fans out there kind of about the resources in terms of being at an SEC school now here at South Carolina, and what you guys have to work with over there, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's a completely different world over here. Everything is just, handed to you. You want this, you want that. I think the biggest thing is here we have core powers, the core power chart, the good protein shakes, and they just, they're just everywhere. They're in the locker room, they're in the weight room, all that. You go to the gas station somewhere else and they're $6 to buy one. I'm like, these are just right here. So that's probably the craziest thing. And the food's amazing, facility wise. I've never played an indoor before. Our practice is an indoor, so having that's huge. And there's just so much that is available to you, hot tub, cold tub, a bunch of a bunch of different sleds, a bunch of different bands, all the they have everything. Coaches everywhere are knowledgeable of what to do, how to do this, how to fix that. So it's very different, and it's a good different.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break here now, but you're listening to Armando Neves here, Gamecock Football, Garnet Trust Hour. I'm Wes Mitchell, and we will be right back.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Go to 1075thegame.com and check out our sweet deals, like $50 worth of great eats from Grill Marks for just $25 and a 6-month membership to the YMCA for half price. It's all at 1075thegame.com.
All right, everybody, let's tell you about our presenting sponsor here on the Garnet Trust Hour. It's our friends over at Krantz Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. KrantzCooling.com, Krantz, cooling with a K.com. You've heard us talk about them here on the program every single week. HVAC service, local, reliable for your home or your business. Repair, maintenance, and installation. They've been out to my home for new installations, for maintenance, for repairs. They've been out to Wes's home, too. You can trust Justin Krantz and his local family-owned business since 1983. They've been helping Midlands families and businesses with any of their HVAC needs. We're excited to say how they've added plumbing to the business. So whether you have heating needs, air quality for your indoor spaces, or plumbing needs now, 803-672-3224 or KrantzCooling.com. Give them a call today for any of your heating, cooling, plumbing needs.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is, how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hendrick.
Why shop for a Chevy or GMC the way you always have when there's a better way? Shop the nation's #1 dealer group, Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Thousands of car buyers across Columbia have switched to Hendrick for a larger selection, better pricing, and an easier buying experience. Plus, buy now but make no payments for 3 months. You don't have to shop the old way anymore. Experience the Hendrick difference. With approved credit, see dealer for details.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of Whirlpool appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Whirlpool offers bigger, better, and more efficient appliances, and Jeffers McGill offers the best in customer service and low prices. Jeffers McGill and Whirlpool, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Feeling lucky?
Bingo!
After that long, cold winter, your yard probably isn't. Faded pine straw and washed out mulch? Well, spring is here, and it's time to freshen things up. At Lucky's Pine Straw, we're your local team for full-service pine straw and mulch, trusted by your neighbors and done right. Our spring schedule's filling up fast, so give us a call at 803-360-4850. That's Lucky's Pine Straw, Luckies, where your yard gets lucky.
The YMCA of Columbia is offering our listeners this sweet deal. Half off a 6-month individual or family membership. Enjoy access to all 6 Midlands locations, including the new 24/7 Chapin location opening this spring. Visit this station's website and click Sweet Deals to get yours today.
Inside with Chris Van Vliet.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet.
Behind-the-scenes conversations with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
How did you know you weren't going to kill Hornswoggle with that move? I didn't. That fall with suicide. I don't know how you survived.
Yeah, luck. And special live coverage of the biggest professional wrestling event of the year.
If you've ever wanted to know where the best place to watch WrestleMania is, right here. I've got a live show there, Insight Live, on the Thursday night.
Pro wrestling at its best.
Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. See you there.
The Garnet Trust Hour with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head. Sponsored by Krantz Heating and Cooling on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, guys, welcome back in. It's Garnet Trust Hour. Hanging out with Armando Neves, South Carolina football senior, transferred in from New Mexico State. Armando, we like to let the fans know a little bit about the student athletes off of the field, off the court, a little bit about you as a person now. If you're not playing football, if you're not working out, what are you doing with your free time? I know you guys don't get a ton of free time, but are there any hobbies? Are there any things that you just kind of do to fill your time that bring you joy?
I think the biggest one since I was a little kid's gaming. Like, I'm right here, on my gaming setup right now. I have a PlayStation 5 hooked up, so I think that's my biggest one. I've played, all sorts of games from like Madden, Fortnite to Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty is like just the biggest one I've played since like that was my first ever video game. I was like 9 years old, just killing kids.
What are the most popular games like among your teammates, and do you guys like play each other a lot, or is it more just like online gaming against other people?
I think the most popular games from what I've talked to is, Call of Duty for sure. Everyone plays Warzone. I think I would seem like, a bunch of O-line guys, at least, they're on Warzone, Call of Duty, stuff like that. And, I think that's just the biggest one for sure. I don't think, we ever gone against each other, but they're just like, if you're trying to play, like, let's play and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. So you mentioned the food here, and I know some of that is more just in terms of like trying to make sure you're getting enough calories, enough protein. But let's go into like cheat meal territory. What is like your favorite meal you could possibly have if it was like, hey, I got to eat this the rest of my life? Is there anything that immediately comes to mind for you, man?
The rest of my life, I think this might be only a West Coast thing, but In-N-Out burger, but yeah, that's my go-to meal right there is 2 double-doubles with cheese fry and then pink lemonade. So I think I could eat that the rest of my life.
Do you get it? Is it animal style? Is that what they call it with all the sauce on there? Or
yeah, but I get just cheese on it. Like
okay.
I don't get the little onions and all that other stuff. The spread, I don't get that.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, that's like a West Coast thing, but I think they're gradually making their way out here.
I think so too. I just haven't seen anything.
I don't think we got them here in South Carolina yet. But man, so you're from Phoenix. You have not yet experienced Columbia heat. We're not in the summer yet, but I always hear people talk about like the dry heat versus the humid heat, and being from out there, man. What is the hottest day you can ever remember? Like, do you remember what the temperature was out there?
Man, I know when I was a little kid, it reached like 117 degrees. But that was like, I don't remember that day exactly. The most recent day I can remember, I think it was like 114. And you step outside, and I'm a big guy, so like I'm already sweating. Like you wear a gray shirt, it's over, it's done for. And then my car has leather seats, so it's even worse. Like you get in the car and you touch anything, it starts burning. The steering wheel's burning you. Like it gets hot. It gets hot.
You like literally can't touch anything in your car until it cools off.
You're just trying to turn the keys, turn the AC back on. Like that's what you're trying to do right away. So
we're going to get you to report back on this. Once you experience Columbia 100 degrees, we'll get 100, 101, really bad day, maybe 102. But we're going to have to get you to report back and tell us which is worse, Phoenix at 114 or Columbia at 101. Has anybody warned you about the Columbia heat yet?
Oh yeah, in my locker row, it's me. We have all three of Arizona guys are in my locker row. So Seth Smith and Christian Clark. So we're sometimes we get into arguments like, oh, I'd rather play in like in dry heat back in Arizona. Like I'd rather play in that, like stuff like that. And they're just saying how like we're just kind of comparing the two. Like all the there's a couple DBs from South Carolina in the row, and they're just like, you will just wait till you experience like a summer here. Like it gets to 100, but it's like humidity. I know humidity is really, really terrible because I hate humidity. So
we'll have to get you to report back on that, man. It is kind of fascinating way out here in South Carolina. you three Arizona guys right there together too in the locker room. Were y'all familiar with each other at all? Like, did y'all know each other? Were you familiar with their games, or did y'all just meet once y'all got here, man?
For me personally, I met them when I got here. So like I knew of like what high school they went to. Like when they mentioned it, like oh wow, like you went over there. I think I do remember seeing some of Christian Clark's like stats on Twitter when he was a running back at Mountain Point, I believe. So I do remember like them tweeting like, oh my God, Christian Clark, just ran for like 400 yards or whatever, like something crazy, stuff like that. And then, Seth Smith's from Chandler, and that's like the biggest school in like, big powerhouse in Arizona. So obviously I knew that. And then like he went to NAU, which is like 2 hours from me. I've been there a couple of times, with my friends. So yeah.
Were you familiar with Spencer Rattler growing up from being out there? Like, I feel like he created some buzz. Just big name.
Yeah. So he was class 20? Yeah. So it was actually crazy. My freshman spring ball, Pinnacle, his high school that he went to, it's like 5 minutes away from my house. They invited our high school to like a sevens showcase or whatever. So like schools from all around. So I actually got to see Spencer Rattler like throw live, but like I didn't know. Like that's all I knew about him. And like our team went up against Pinnacle's team, I'm pretty sure, like in sevens or something like that. And I'm not sure if we won or not because we were doing one-on-ones, but yeah. So like, and our quarterback at the time was Ben Finley. He went to NC State, beat Drake May in that big Rattler game. I don't know if anyone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he's at Akron now, or was, I don't know, but they kind of went head to head on that, so that was good. So I kind of knew of Spencer Rattler then, yeah.
Hey, Spencer can spin that thing, man.
Yeah,
still can.
No doubt, yeah.
Still can. All right, let's go back. We'll let you get out of here, man. But let's first go back to spring ball and what's going on right now. What has it been like going up against some of these kind of defensive end edge guys here at South Carolina so far? Like, are there a couple of guys you can maybe shout out, or if you just want to talk about the room in general, what's it been like kind of honing your craft against a couple of these guys that just look like prototypical kind of defensive ends to me?
Yeah, it's been good. There's a bunch of playmakers on that side of the ball. And, there's different guys with, they can do a bunch of different stuff. Like, I think the biggest one that pops out and has been popping out, throughout the O-line room is Anthony Addison. He's been hustling everywhere, like, making plays. Like, he's like, if the running back's running down the field for a touchdown, his number's popping up. Like, he's chasing that down. He works hard. He plays hard. Shifty guy. Speedster. He's strong too. Like, he's probably the one that's just been doing good. And Drew Collins as well. Julian Walker too, big long guy. Like, they're all making plays. So it's been good. Dylan Stewart's been out along with a bunch of other guys. But I think once that room gets back and healthy, it's gonna be dangerous.
How familiar are you with what Dylan? I know you haven't been able to practice against him yet, but just what that dude is capable of.
I've seen once I got cooked up with like all the film from last year, I tuned into some games like not the Clemson game, like earlier in the week, and I'm just like, man, this guy's a freak of nature. So he's one of those guys that you're just glad to practice against. Not you don't want to play against him, you want to practice against him. So yeah,
no, for sure, man. Another guy I'm sure you're glad is on your side, Lenora Sellers. I know he's kind of wanting to bounce back a little bit from last year, but I feel like this offense is going to be like a really good fit for his skill set, man. What have you seen? Just like a lot of times people, when they watch 16 in person for the first time, like with you coming in, they're kind of like, okay, this guy is an unreal athlete. What have you just seen, from him on the practice field and then, conditioning and all that stuff?
He's for sure. I mean, the big thing I noticed is like he's a leader. I'm sure he mentioned that maybe on an interview or something like that. But he's been leading us. So like he's definitely gonna be he's the guy everyone looks up to, and like we all listen to him and stuff like that. On the practice field, some of the things I've seen is like his throws on the run. Like he's probably the most accurate I've ever seen a quarterback throw on the run ever. There was this one play where he took someone's ankles and, everyone on the offensive side was high. We're like, oh my God, he's free, going for a touchdown. Everyone's chasing down the field. Like, it was great. So he's very dynamic and I'm excited. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. I'm sure you're excited to run out there with your teammates for the first time here in a few months. No spring game this year. So the first time that you'll be running out in Williams-Brice Stadium. We'll be in front of like 80,000 people, crowd going nuts, entrance, LED lights. What is your excitement level like as you're kind of working right now, putting in the hours, but working towards that moment? How excited are you to kind of be able to experience SEC ball and just all the crowd and all the pageantry and all that stuff, man?
No, I'm excited. I kind of like got my first taste of it last year when I was in Mexico State. We actually played Tennessee on their homecoming. So when we showed up and we're walking out the tunnel, we're just getting booed and it's like loud. The state, like I think it's a Nyland Stadium, like it's just like large. I'm like, holy. So now I'm excited this year for the fans to be like on my side and like we're booing the other team. So that's gonna be exciting. Right. I'm excited. So yeah.
No doubt, man. Well, Armando, we're going to let you get back to what you were doing, man. I know you guys have busy days over there right now, but it'll all be worth it here in a few months when you get to run out there like we just talked about, man. So we appreciate you taking the time. We appreciate Garnet Trust for making this interview happen. We appreciate Energy by 5 through No Cap as well. And we look forward to following your career here this year too, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yep. All right. Armando Neves, we'll let him get out of here. You've been listening to the Garnet Trust Hour. And as always, this segment and the Garnet Trust Hour is also brought to you by our friends at Krantz Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. We're going to get out of here. We're going to turn it back over to our guy, Tyler Head, who is in studio at 107.5 The Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
I don't want to hear about the Houston Rockets anymore as serious contenders in the Western Conference in the NBA. Had a 13-point lead in overtime last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Minnesota ends the game on a 15-0 run. And oh, by the way, Anthony Edwards didn't play in the game. Kevin Durant was a nice move by Houston, but he hasn't moved the needle, hasn't gotten them over the hump. And if Houston plays the Lakers in the first round, LA will smash them. I'm Nick Costa.
African Americans are the most likely to die from colorectal cancer. So please, get screened starting at age 45. Now, Medicare and insurance companies are required to cover not only colonoscopy, but also less invasive exams like virtual colonoscopy. Talk to your doctor about your options. For more information on virtual colonoscopy, visit radiologyinfo.org/virtual CT.
Furnished by the American College of Radiology and the Radiology Health Equity Coalition.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday. Let's do this Monday. ZzzQuil Pure Z's. Just for sleep. Really great sleep.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
The Garnet Trust Hour with Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell, and Tyler Head. Sponsored by Krantz Heating and Cooling on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Run that back turbo,
All right, welcome back in. Garnet Trust Hour presented by Krantz Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. Tyler Head, Jack Beltry, Wes Mitchell, along with you here. You just heard Wes's conversation with Armando Nieves, again, one of the many transfers that South Carolina has coming in for this season. We'll talk more football coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. Get back into what Coach Beamer had to say the other day. But last night was the opening night for Major League Baseball. And it was a good night for Jack Veltry's New York Yankees. They get off to a resounding start with the 7-0 win over Tony Vitello's San Francisco Giants. The first game on Netflix, all that kind of stuff. Not really a fun game to watch unless you were a Yankees fan. Max Fried had a good outing last night, and the Yankees as a whole 3-hit the Giants for game number 1 of the season.
It's crazy that everyone had a good night except for Aaron Judge. He went 0 for 5 last night.
He's in postseason form.
And struck out 4 times. But here's the thing. Maybe it's roles reversed this year where he's going to have a rough regular season, and then he's just going to turn it on in the postseason. So, and honestly, the postseason Judge narrative, I think, is kind of dead at this point because he had such a good postseason last year, albeit it was a few games. But he definitely was not the reason the Yankees got eliminated last season.
Jack, how are you feeling about the Yankees? I know Jack is decked out.
They're on the way to 162-0 right now.
Look, they got a really good offense. They scored the most runs in baseball last year. I know a lot of people were kind of like, and probably including myself a little bit to some extent, were like, why are they not making any moves offensively? When in reality, they really didn't need to. They brought back Trent Grisham. They've got, all the key pieces back from last year's team. So we'll just see. It's just a matter of, are they going to hit in the postseason? And that's the big thing. But great win last night. Max Fried, former Atlanta Brave, was...
just point that out.
Could use him right now.
Yeah. But, now the broadcast.
Yeah. So,
what do we think?
Hold on. I feel like we're teeing Jack up for a rant here.
No, it's not a rant. It's not even a rant. Because I don't even think it was that bad. Okay, let's get...
Hold on. What do you think of the score bug, first of all?
I have to give yes,
that was the first thing I texted
That was
him.
the first thing he texted me like 5 minutes into the game. He's like I want to talk about this tomorrow.
The score bug. Oh, my God. It just looked terrible. I mean, you can't even read who's the pitcher, who's hitting. I couldn't even see what the pitch count was. It was just very small. They had the team logos kind of like faded. The score bug was terrible. That was probably the number one problem. But I actually thought the presentation was okay. I liked seeing Hunter Pence, CC Sabathia, Matt Vasgersian, like good broadcast crew. Did you guys see the interview with Barry Bonds talking about how the Yankees were ready to pay him whatever he wanted when he left the Pirates? Like, that was interesting. Like, did you see the American flag during the national anthem with what was it, the powder or whatever? Like,
it was like a firework powder type of thing. That was
really
pretty neat.
Really cool. I just thought it was a little over the top, the broadcast. Like, this is not a rant. It's just, I just thought it was a little much because baseball is kind of a simple sport, and I don't think it needs all the extra pizzazz. And then you got the Giants players coming out of a trolley. You got the Yankees guys coming out of a taxi. You got dancers, everything. It's just
didn't you have the hand from Addams Family,
which apparently they didn't show, right? They didn't even show that first pitch, right?
I don't know. I just saw on social media that thing was bringing out the first pitch
and
ball.
that was the thing about this is like this was kind of like a big Netflix advertisement. Like the pregame show was all tied into Netflix shows. Bert Kreischer was out at McCovey Cove in a kayak during the entire game. You had some people from WWE that were there. Jameis Winston was running around with a microphone.
He was actually fine.
He was entertaining because he's Jameis Winston. But like it felt like a Netflix advertisement featuring baseball more than like a baseball game featuring Netflix ads at the end of the day.
Even last night, the first ever ABS challenge, the automated balls and strikes now, where you can
took place during an interview, right?
Took place during a Tony Vitello interview, and that's not something that Netflix can control. But they should have like immediately panned to. They didn't even show it really.
But wouldn't they think that it would be coming pretty soon, like early in the game because it was the first inning.
It wasn't first. It was
second inning.
It was like the middle innings when it came, I think, because they were doing the on-field interview with Tony V. But
they could have at least cut away from it.
Yeah, cut away with it. I don't know if you saw this last night watching it, Tyler, but like some of like the left-handed hitters, because they got the advertisements behind home plate.
Yep.
And I'm like watching like right away at the Giants thing. It was like Rafael Devers up, and I'm like, why is it like
very washed out?
Yeah, like. Some of the lighting was off. I mean, it's Netflix's first baseball broadcast, so I guess we'll cut them a little bit of slack. But, yeah, they only have a few games. It's that, the Home Run Derby, and I believe they get one other game.
Netflix has the Derby?
Yes, the Home Run Derby. Because ESPN.
What?
Yeah, ESPN. Because ESPN's no longer doing Sunday Night Baseball. NBC is going to kill it with Sunday Night Baseball, by the way. I think they've got it all planned out to where if it's as good as the Sunday Night Football coverage, the basketball coverage, it will be so much better than ESPN.
Do y'all know, and I know everybody kind of just low-key hates the idea, well, now I've got to get Netflix to watch this game. I got to get this app to watch this other game. But you know who actually, I think Apple does a fantastic job with their broadcast. The picture quality from Apple broadcast is better than anything else. Like the regional sports networks, typically, like you're watching a picture quality that feels like it's from 15 years ago.
And
so
some of the stuff they do with the broadcast is shot on like the latest iPhone. Like I think I saw a story or something about like some of the clips they will show during the game are literally shot on like an iPhone, which is nuts.
That's insane.
But you're right. The quality's great. It's taken Apple, I think, some time to figure out the broadcasting side of it because it was very rough when it started like 2 years ago. Apple's very good. I think NBC's going to be great. The problem with Netflix, though, and I was having this issue last night, is that, what is it? You can only have so many devices synced up to watching Netflix, like with the family household thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm watching off my parents' Netflix, and I'm trying to put it on my TV, and it's like, oh, yeah, you're not a part of this household. So luckily I had my iPad last night to watch it, but...
Got to get your own Netflix account, Jack.
When Caroline moves down here, we're going to get our own Netflix and whatnot. It's
a serious step in a relationship.
It is. It's pretty.
I want you to think long and hard before you make that move, Jack.
I know. Big decision.
Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs coming up next on your Thursday here on The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com. Columbia business leaders, ready to grow in 2026? Join us for your business, your customers, your growth. The 2026 Digital Seminar, April 30th at Hilton Garden Inn, 1200 Pickens Street. Choose the session that fits your schedule, 11:30 with lunch or 2:30 with light refreshments. Attend and get $1,500 in advertising credit to boost your brand on our Columbia Cumulus stations. And when you confirm your reservation, you'll also receive a custom audio or video from Podcast Studio 803. Seats are limited. Dial #250, keyword Digital Impact to RSVP MVP today.
Boot and hat season is upon us, y'all. Pistol Creek has all those favorites from out west. Boots by Ariat, Justin, Tony Lama, Thoroughgood, Lou Casey, Dan Post, Dingo, and more. Pistol Creek has Columbia's largest selection of boots and hats. Hundreds to choose from. Get one for him and one for her. And don't ignore them little buckaroos. Pistol Creek West, 4350 St. Andrews Road, 10 to 7:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 6:30 Saturday. Hats and boots for work, play, and every day. Pistol Creek West.
Are you a small business owner, a church, or other entity in need of a new HVAC system? AAA Heating and Air has exciting news for you. AAA Heating and Air now offers financing to qualified organizations to aid them in installing a new light commercial HVAC system. It's as easy as calling 803-677-1500 for a quote or finding them online at callAAAtoday.com. Tell them Jay Phillips with 107.5 sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Learning to drive, getting married, the birth of your children. These are the life-changing events you remember your whole life. I'm Jason Reynolds. A serious injury changes your life too, in a very different way.
I'm Stephen Samuels. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we get you. We can't erase the injury or change the past, but we can get you through the pain and anxiety and help you on to a brighter future.
We get South Carolina because we're true South Carolina. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Shepherd's Glass has provided commercial, residential, and auto glass installation, repair, and replacement to Columbia for over 50 years. Large retail storefronts, auto, custom shower enclosures, and mirrors for that remodeling or new construction project. Visit shepherdsglass.com to see and learn more. Now with 2 locations on Platte Springs Road in West Columbia and Chapin at 855 Chapin Road. shepherdsglass.com.
Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality.
Springtime is a great time for a new car, and State Credit Union is a great place to finance that new car. With rates as low as 4.25% APR and up to 90 days with no payment, you can drive what you love and keep some money in your pocket. Visit State Credit Union's website for details and to find a location near you. SCSCU.com. Visit one of State Credit Union's 8 Midlands branches today. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender, federally insured by the NCUA.
The Carolina Cup races return on Saturday, March 28th in Camden, South Carolina, presented by MUSC Health. It's where spring begins. So grab your most festive hat or your favorite bow tie and make plans now for the best tailgating, shopping, fashion, and incredible horses running to victory. It's the 91st running of the Carolina Cup races, and don't forget to bring the whole family and enjoy the True Vista Kids Zone. Plus, remember, all kids 12 and under get in free. Saturday, March 28th. Visit carolinacup.org for tickets and details.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here for my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon, Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. Throws it! He throws it down! The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head and Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
11 o'clock on your Thursday morning. Welcome in Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you here on the game. We just finished listening to Jack rant about the Netflix broadcast and their first time covering Major League Baseball last night. Chris, did you get to take in any of that? Do you have any thoughts on that yourself?
No, I was catching up on work and last night, and I did the thing, and I try not to do this, but I did the thing where I was like flipping through, like trying to put some things on the background.
Yeah.
But I actually went to Netflix, and I was like, oh, they have a broadcast for baseball, but I did not click on it. Guys, Netflix does a lot of things very well.
apparently they're not great at sports broadcasts quite yet. Because you remember they had, what was the one they had, like the boxing or something, where it was like a complete disaster? Maybe they should stick with movies and shows. I don't know.
It's one of those things that, like, because again, Netflix is kind of always been at the forefront of streaming and, you know, movies, TV shows, all that kind of stuff. They now have podcasts and stuff on there, which is fine. But yeah, it's like breaking into the actual live sports broadcasting it's still a new foray for them. I guess it's only a matter of time before they start doing something with college football, because, you know, they've got the NFL, then they've got MLB, boxing, and all that kind of stuff. It seems like those kind of things are coming down the line. Hopefully they work out the bugs first.
Guys, I was just ranting actually to Jack off air about not Netflix, but just the sports broadcast business in general. And we all get marketed 4K TV, 55-inch, 65-inch, 75. You need a 4K TV. None of the broadcasts are actually in 4K. So why do I need a 4K TV? Which my TV was bought 90% for sports watching and 10% for my wife watching Paramount Plus and Netflix.
What about the kid watching Bluey and stuff?
We're not there yet,
Not
Tyler.
there yet? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to be one of those no-screen parents that, we'll sell on that last.
No, oh, boy, here we go.
No. All right, don't get off topic. Don't get off topic. I'm mostly kidding. But
we'll talk about that off air.
But, yes, for real, dude, why can't we upgrade? I like the Apple TV broadcast when they do the Friday night baseball, just because it is higher quality than, the Bally Sports broadcast. Terrible. And I love the announcers, and I know they're going to be on Braves Vision or whatever this year, but it's probably going to be the same cameras, probably the same encoders, on the back end of it in terms of the actual quality of the digital stream.
I'm pretty sure they just brought the same cameras over. Yeah. I don't think they went out and bought new equipment for Braves Vision.
I would imagine not. If so, they probably would have had one of the more expensive streams instead of one of the cheaper ones, I think. But that is my rant, the fact that the picture quality a lot of times does not match your TV.
You're mad you can't watch all the Braves injuries in 4K?
Well, I even if it's bad things, Chris, I would like to get the value out of the TV that you could purchase from integrated media.
You know what I'm thinking? Yeah, I was going to say, we got to reach out to Michael and Nathan and be like, here's the problem. How do we solve it?
Well, they're going to have to go to MLB and solve it, or
I think
Fox Sports, or
they've got pull.
ESPN. It's at that. Now, I have seen, Jack was talking about NBC taking over the Sunday Night Baseball, right?
Yep.
Well, and I don't really watch a lot of NBA, but apparently the NBC NBA broadcasts are kind of, I would say, rewarded for being a higher picture quality. And it's because NBC, now they're still not 4K, but NBC saw a need to broadcast in a higher quality. It mattered to them, whereas a lot of these other networks are just more about what is the cheapest way I can get this broadcast out there to a minimum standard, I think.
Yeah, NBC does good with everything. They actually have a couple games today. It's the Pirates and Mets, I think, at 1:15, then a night game tonight. So you can actually check that out today, too, to see how they do with Major League Baseball for this upcoming year. But, yeah, it is really funny how – and I think we've become spoiled in a lot of ways because, you go back and watch highlights or find an old game on YouTube from 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it's a night and day difference between what we have accessible now, the quality of broadcast now compared to then. But
I've got a take on that, too, Tyler.
Okay, all right. But, we have so many bells and whistles now that even the bells and whistles we have aren't good enough sometimes, right? Because, again, you have other ones that are doing better, the Apple TV and stuff like that, to where it's competitive, and it should be, but it is interesting kind of the dynamic between certain broadcast partners and others in terms of what they do give you.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the announcing crew at all. You got some good ones, you got some bad ones.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking graphics and camera quality and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so Go back, pull up some of Preston Thorne's highlights on YouTube when he's out there in the Russell Athletic Garnet jerseys at home.
The 94.
The quality that you are watching that broadcast on YouTube, it is unwatchable.
Yeah, you can't. I can't tell which pixels are Preston and which ones aren't.
But if you had a time machine and you went back and watched Preston, it did not look that bad on your TV.
Right. It just doesn't.
It doesn't translate to. So I feel like we are led to believe, oh man, this quality is so much better than it was back then. But for the TV you were watching it on back then, it wasn't terrible. And I will say this. I remember when ESPN went first to HD, and they even called it, ESPN HD. It was a separate channel. And you're like, okay, we have entered, it is like 1,000 years into the future. This is the best picture quality I've ever seen in my life. It was amazing. Unfortunately, I don't think they've upgraded that in 26 years. So it is a situation of, we're just doing the bare low standard there. Bare minimum.
You're telling me Jefferson Pilot Sports didn't really look that grainy?
It may have, but that was just Jefferson Pilot with the Dave and Dave. Poor Dave Neal is probably doing a Vandy game somewhere right now as we speak.
No, dude, Wes, you had the best distillation of the JP Sports experience a while back. I think it was last year. And Dave Neal. A lot of Mississippi State. Like, every game was Mississippi State.
Oh, yeah. That dude called more Mississippi State, Vandy, and Kentucky football games at 12 o'clock on a Saturday than anybody should ever have to call.
And every broadcast was in the brightest sunshine you've ever seen. It was blinding. And again, the color aspect ratios are always kind of off. So the field was, like, brighter than it should be. It was hard to see the players. Like, they never broadcast a JP Sports game on a cloudy day, apparently.
I got to shout out my buddies, Chris and Bert, because, you know, the old, like, sports group chat everybody has.
Sure.
There's a Dave Neal mention, you know, at least about 5 times per college football season. And it's always, what terrible game have they sent Dave? Can Dave Neal not get a college football playoff game at some point? Because I happen to think Dave Neal is pretty dang good at what he does. And he's been doing it forever.
Yeah, he's kind of like relegated to like the C broadcast on the SEC network.
It's really not fair.
4:15 on Saturdays now.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets like and there's nothing wrong. He does do very well. Like, he gets like the lower, like he gets the FCS playoffs.
Yeah.
And he gets the NIT. Let this man step up a little bit. He's paid his dues.
Justice for Dave Neal.
Justice for Dave. Yes.
Should we try and get Dave on the show and see if we can campaign for him?
Absolutely.
Somebody here's got a connection, right?
I would see if we could get his autograph, honestly. And I don't even care about autographs, but I would love to have Dave Neal's autograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try and effort that. We'll see if we can do that at some point in the offseason. We'll get into some Gamecock football coming up next. We'll get into what Coach Beamer had to say earlier on this week about freshmen and who's standing out in practice so far. It is the Extra Point. No, it's not. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on The Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today by dialing pound 250 and use keyword QC Kinetics.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Taxes was waiting on the refund you needed yesterday.
All right, your car repair is going to run about $3,000.
Now Taxes is getting back on the road with TurboTax and Credit Karma, where you can get your refund up to 5 days faster and get personalized guidance to take every dollar further. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Deposit a federal refund into Credit Karma money account and early submission of refund data by IRS required. Terms apply. Banking services provided by MVB Bank Inc. Member FDIC. Credit Karma is not a bank.
Boot and hat season is upon us, y'all. Pistol Creek has all those favorites from out west. Boots by Ariat, Justin, Tony Lama, Thorogood, Lou Casey, Dan Post, Dingo, and more. Pistol Creek has Columbia's largest selection of boots and hats. Hundreds to choose from. Get one for him and one for her. And don't ignore them little buckaroos. Pistol Creek West, 4350 St. Andrews Road, 10 to 7:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 6:30 Saturday. Hats and boots for work, play, and every day. Pistol Creek West.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because Rhino Shield is backed by a 25-year warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call at 833-RHINO-99. Call now and receive 15% off the regular price. Or go to RhinoShieldCarolina.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
Call now, 833-RHINO-99 for your 15% off. Or go to RhinoShieldCarolina.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
When you're looking for Gamecock merchandise, always think Gamecock Traditions. Style, selection, quality, and the absolute best pricing. That's always the Gamecock Traditions way. Right now, score Champion Crewneck sweats for just $44.99. Need a hoodie? Champion hooded sweats are only $54.99. That's $8 to $10 less than any other Gamecock store. And they keep them in stock. Sizes small through triple extra large, all the best colors. Gamecock Traditions in Lexington, Sand Hills Village, or online at GamecockTraditions.com. Great gear, better prices always.
There's a new kind of welcome waiting for you at the Haven Harley-Davidson, and right now is the perfect time to ride. For a limited time, get 0 down, 2.5% APR, and up to $2,500 in customer cash on the 2025 Road Glide, Street Glide, and Street Glide Ultra. For riders navigating a bit of transition right now, know there's always a place to land. If you're looking for a place that rides with you, supports you, and knows what your Harley means to you, the Haven Harley-Davidson would be honored to be part of your journey. Discover more at 866-768-5095 or thehavenharley.com.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Metro!
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, West, and Chris along with you here on your Thursday on the game. We spent pretty much the entire show yesterday obviously talking Gamecock baseball, and again, appreciate Grayson Griner for coming down and hanging out with us for a few segments. So we didn't really get into spring practice or anything that Coach Beamer had to say, but, and you guys were posting about it on the Insiders Forum, nothing crazy really yesterday at practice, just kind of your standard observation. Again, nobody got hurt, thankfully. Didn't seem like too much to report from what you guys saw yesterday, right?
Yeah, and, Tyler, I absolutely hate when, I try to tell myself, do not say there's nothing new here. That's terrible reporting, terrible radio, terrible everything. But I'm just sitting there, and me and Chris are looking at each other. We're just like, man, what new do we have to tell people? And I will say this. One maybe thing we can talk about is this was a little bit of a view of what South Carolina's basically new strategy, new practice structure is. And typically, we weren't seeing a ton during that kind of viewing window anyway, but it used to be that you would have a build-up, you would have a ramp-up throughout the practice. So early on, you might be doing position drills, fundamentals, pad work, sled work, whatever it may be. And then you'd build up. You're going to do 7-on-7 later on in practice. And then the ramp up from there, you're mixing in, maybe special teams along the way or whatever. But ultimately, you get to your true 11-on-11 team practice, which is kind of a glorified scrimmage. And so, Chris, I think we were seeing a little bit of kind of what Beamer has talked about, what some of the players have talked about. It's a little bit more of an NFL-style approach, and it's a little bit more going back to something he told us last month, and that was they want to make sure that when you have 40 new players, the fundamentals of football, all the way down to the rules of football, are just hammered into these guys' heads. And so they've kind of changed what a Wednesday practice is. Wednesday is actually the first day of practice in a given week. And it used to be you'd have 3 practices in a week, and you'd go practice, day off, practice, day off, practice. And within the individual practices, you would do those ramp-ups. Now, Wednesday is almost entirely a fundamentals, an install. You're not going offense against defense on Wednesday. You are working on installing, on just kind of hammering away at all the things that you were going to work on Thursday. And then Friday is kind of an off day, which really means film day, classroom type day. And then Saturday is where you build up to what is not a true scrimmage, but is the closest thing you're going to get within a regular practice. So, Chris, it is one of those things I feel like typical fan, even typical media, we maybe don't even think about what is your practice structure. But for these guys, for the players, for the coaches, it actually is a fairly dramatic shift.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, so think back to last year, man, and every year Shane Beamer is asked about what's changing about your program. And that might be things that are very obvious. You've got a new coach, which has happened sometimes this year. Obviously, it's the highest number of coaching turnover and change that he's had in all of his years here since the 2021 season at South Carolina. And sometimes, generally it's, hey, we're tweaking a couple things schedule-wise or what we're doing during the week. You remember the whole the activation period, that they started implementing. I think that was last year in practice, just to help with potentially some soft tissue injury issues and things like that, just to get guys ramped up a little bit more. But this year, more dramatic, right? Like the amount of changes being made to the program. Yes, there are things that are similar or the same as they've done in the past, but this year, just so many differences. And you think back to Beamer's press conference, he said that Luke Day and Chip Morton kind of presented this new model, and they decided to implement it. Then you pair that with what Beamer told us, and we sat down with them, which is, hey, we're doing more football 101 stuff. We've already been implementing this in January before we even get on the practice field, while guys are still, in there working out, just doing more, getting on the board, more film room, more introducing concepts and reiterating concepts to people, whether it's freshmen who have only played high school ball and frankly still have a lot to learn, or just the transfers with, hey, this is exactly how we do things here in our scheme and from a technique standpoint. Then you add on that other layer of new coaches, right? So defensively, not as much changing with just Deion Barnes coming in, but offensively, you've now got a new offense, not only new offensive coaches, but a new offensive scheme. And so there are things that even within whatever practice structure you decide to have, that Kendall Briles is going to implement in order to most effectively, introduce, install his offense, and then how you just want to structure that practice. So, honestly, this is something that probably excites some fans, right? Because when you have the type of season that you had last year, there's a lot to address. And some of that is just the Jimmies and Joes, right? The players, but it's also the scheme. And then it's also how you're teaching it, how you're working out, how you're prepping for the season. So I would say this is the most change, the most tweaks, the highest amount of changes that we've seen going in to a season, this spring.
And to the point you're talking there about the fundamentals, and we discussed this a few weeks ago when you guys had your sit-downs with Coach Beamer and put your articles out about what his focuses were for this offseason. That Football 101 was a big point where I think we can get kind of lulled in this false sense of security with like, oh, these guys have played football at college, whether it be at the Division I level, FCS level, or whatever it may be. They know all the things they need to know prior to coming here to Carolina. Where we saw last year, maybe that wasn't the case. When you look at some of the basic fundamental issues, they had like pre-snap penalties and stuff like that. And as much as some of those guys may be rolling their eyes about having to go over the basic things, making sure you don't leave any stone unturned can be the catalyst for having a better season and not making some of those dumb mistakes that did cost you dearly a season ago. And again, when you're welcoming in 30, 40 some odd new faces, whether it be from high school or other places around college football, you don't know what they've been taught. You don't know everything they know. You don't know everything they don't know. You can figure those things out early on in spring practice. Say, okay, this guy maybe needs a little bit more work in this area. This guy's not familiar with this. Not to mention getting everybody up to speed on a new offense, new position coaches, that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with tearing it down and going back to the basics. And I think a lot of coaches will tell you that is a net positive when you can do those things.
Yeah, and I think the biggest point of what you just said is you do not know what they don't know until you kind of get into some of this stuff. And in some cases, I may know, okay, in this particular formation as a wide receiver, I'm supposed to line up off the line of scrimmage. But I may not know why I'm supposed to line up off I just may know, hey, coach said in this situation, that's where I'm supposed to be. So I'm going to memorize, okay, in this formation, that's where I'm supposed to be. Well, now I may have to try to learn a different wide receiver position, and I may start mixing up, well, when am I on the line, when am I off the line? If I know the basics of what's a legal formation and what's an illegal formation, I can use that in real time if I'm confused on a given play, if I don't quite know what's going on, I can communicate with the other receiver, and we can probably get right just based on knowing the rules here, as opposed to just it's kind of the difference, you talk about in school. Are you memorizing this just so you can pass your test, or are you learning this? And I think you have so many different guys coming from so many different backgrounds, different schools, different levels, and it's just different, man. It's just hard. I think the programs, and we're seeing a shift here, and you had the comments from Indiana this year where they're talking about how little they actually practice, and they're more about efficiency. Well, the coaches that can figure out a way to do not more with less necessarily in terms of talent, but more with less in terms of the time they have available, and simplifying and putting in systems to let guys learn what they're doing quicker than ever. I think those are the ones, on top of the ones that have the most money from a program standpoint, but the ones, once they get the roster and get the guys in to work with, those guys that can sort of be most efficient are going to be the ones that I think consistently maybe punch a little bit above their weight in terms of the amount of money they have to spend.
Yeah, I think, you look just in college football in general, we've talked about this, there's a push to canonize, standardize, some of the shifts that we're seeing in spring practice. You remember there was, it was last year, but there was a proposal at the ACC spring meetings to add some OTA style, like contactless practices. We've already seen some shifts in college football. It used to be you really couldn't do anything outside of spring practice, the allotted practice time you get in the spring, and then preseason camp. Really couldn't do anything, and those rules were relaxed. And when I say do anything, the players could go do things, but the coaches couldn't really be involved. Hey, you can't use a ball. There were all these different rules, and those things have been relaxed over time. But with that has come more of an emphasis, and some of it's really just been kind of this organic movement based on some schools going to more OTA style stuff. What you just brought up about Indiana West, to where now people are saying, hey, this is actually a model that we like for us and for our players. I think people are more cognizant than ever, just to be frank, about getting guys injured in practice, because now you've got payroll, so you're sitting there, you still have to have guys practice. And there's always been, across college football for years, there have been players where it's just a get him to Saturday type guy. Like if he doesn't practice and he's a star player, whatever, we're going to hold him out of practice. If he's a little banged up, we're going to hold him out of practice. But I think we're seeing more and more of that, where it's just, let's be really, really careful and kind of protect our investments here. And there's plenty of data that you can do it. Indiana doesn't go out there and have these long, physical, drawn out practices. And they did pretty well, and there's a lot that goes into that, but we're seeing more and more of a shift towards this. So it's going to be interesting to watch all that continue to play out as the game, keeps evolving at this level.
Again, South Carolina still about 7-8 practices into the spring so far. Coach Beamer spoke on Tuesday, was asked about which freshmen are standing out to him so far. We'll hear that answer coming up on the other side. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on your Thursday on the Game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Man, speaking of Integrated Media, always a great time to hit them up at 803-948-8327. They've done a ton of work here in the studio, here on the Game, and they can come to your home just like they've been to mine, just like they've been to Chris's, and upgrade pretty much anything about your viewing experience. That could be something in the living room where we're just, maybe hanging a TV, hiding the wires, making it look a little bit more professional. Or if you want to go all in on that home theater system, that man cave, whatever it may be, you got that extra room that just needs, needs some love to it. They can do that for you too. Hang the TV, the projector, surround sound, have it all running off of a tablet. And then even if you want to go beyond that and you want to sort of upgrade your peace of mind at the house, protect your family a little bit more, they have security and camera setups that they can just take you all the way through and show you exactly how to work it every single night. IntegratedMediaInc.com, 803-948-8327.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for the Men's Clinic. You're not feeling like yourself as you get older? You're wondering why? Don't wait for it to change or go away. Instead, see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic. You'll have a one-on-one consultation that gets to the root of the issues and gets you back to feeling like you used to. No such thing as a one-size-fits-all treatment at the Men's Clinic. Call them up for a free consultation, 803-875-MENS, and learn more online at themensclinicsc.com.
Shepherd's Glass has provided commercial, residential, and auto glass installation, repair, and replacement to Columbia for over 50 years. Large retail storefronts, auto, custom shower enclosures, and mirrors for that remodeling or new construction project. Visit shepherdsglass.com to see and learn more. Now with 2 locations on Platte Springs Road in West Columbia and Chapin at 855 Chapin Road. shepherdsglass.com.
Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
Plus tax and title with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for details. March is a race against time at JT's Jeep Ram. JT is selling every single Ram regardless of profit or loss. Every credit application and offer accepted. JT's been challenged to sell 150 Rams, making deals the other dealers can't. New Rams, light duty, heavy duty, up to $15,000 off with 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. JT's Jeep Ram, 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Ram Truck Month.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
The YMCA of Columbia is offering our listeners this sweet deal. Half off a 6-month individual or family membership. Enjoy access to all 6 Midlands locations, including the new 24/7 Chapin location opening this spring. Visit this station's website and click Sweet Deals to get yours today.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, West, and Chris along with you here on your Thursday on the Game. Gamecock baseball back in action this weekend, taking on Georgia. It's your next chance to win the Crescent Construction Grand Slam contest. Pot goes up by $25 each and every game. It sits at $225 right now, so go to 1075thegame.com and register if you've not already for the Crescent Construction Grand Slam contest. And coming up here in a couple minutes, I'll have some baseball tickets to give away for next week's game as they're back at Founders Park taking on Wofford. But we're talking Gamecock football right now. Coach Beamer speaking earlier this week in the midst of spring practice and was asked the question of what freshmen are currently standing out through what he's seen so far through a handful of practices.
I'm not trying to dodge the question. I really feel that way in general about the whole class, to be totally honest. I think it's a really mature group. Coach Smiley is still trying to learn everyone, and he knows names and faces, but maybe not their whole story and journey to this point, who got here when. And I was meeting with them yesterday, and we were going through kind of like different units, punt team, pump pressure, and talking about different names. And he was mentioning some of these freshmen. And it was, hey, how long's he been here? Well, actually, he's only been here for like 2 months. Really? Yes, he should still be in high school. And that's a great thing, because he was saying that about a handful of those freshmen. I don't want to single guys out, but I think that entire DB group, it's really impressive. Tristan, Kasi, Jazavian. I mean, those are 3 guys that looked the part and are really handling their business on and off the field. But I don't look at it to be totally honest, with any of our freshmen and say, he's a year or 2 away, or man, he's not what we thought, or there's a lack of maturity there. It's a really, professional, hungry, mature group. And I think our players would say that too. I like the progress they've made. They've come in, they've hit the ground running. They're very driven, and starting with the weight room in January, and then what they're doing out there on the field right now too.
I think it's interesting because he, again, said didn't really want to single anybody out there, but once again mentioned Jazavian Curran. It's not the first time that's happened. We've heard Clayton White talk about him, other players talking about him. This is a name that's generating a lot of buzz, and we know that Shane Beaver is not afraid to play freshmen. He's been in position in the past handful of years where he's had to play freshmen just because of depth and injuries and all that kind of stuff, particularly in the DB spots, funny enough. But Jazavian Kearns, we obviously know what he was doing in high school at South Point, great athlete, helping that team as the quarterback and playing defense as well. And this is a name that's really getting thrown around, seemingly the most out of all these freshmen right now going through spring practice.
Yeah, I'd put him up there with Julian Walker in terms of the guy I feel like we hear the most buzz about. And here's the thing about Kearns, not really a surprise. And we always lean on our guy, Charles Power, who does the rankings there for Rivals and On3. And Charles kind of has, He's very, very good at pointing out trends and markers that you should pay attention to. And one of his big things is like, how do you finish your high school career? Like, are you a guy who gets a big ranking and a bunch of offers and then you're kind of static, you kind of plateau, or maybe there's even just a bit of just kind of hype there? Or do you continually get better? And the thing about Julian Walker and also Jazavian Currents is they both played their best ball as seniors in high school. And, you know, the thing with Currents is this is a kid who kind of has been, I would say, developed and groomed as an athlete to be in this position for a long time. Like he was on the national radar as a recruit in like 8th grade, but has still steadily gotten better. So I think there's some momentum for Currents going into this kind of freshman year for him. I remind people, hey, you look at some of the best sort of safety DB nickel type South Carolina has had in recent memory. Nicky Memori was not a starter when South Carolina's starting lineups were posted game one. Jalen Kilgore was not a starter when South Carolina's starting lineups were posted day one 3 years ago. But by the end of the first quarter, due to injury, but still, those guys were on the field, and they never left. So I think Currents, some guys just have the it factor, Chris, on top of being 6'3", long arms, physical, confident, leader, you know, all those things, man. He's got a little bit of that just swagger to him that I think you have to play at this level. And, you know, I don't think there's a big surprise that this is the guy we're talking about. If anything, I thought it was a little bit interesting that Beamer slipped in a Tristan Lewis and a Cassie Barnes mentioned in there as well.
Yeah, so two things come to mind with the freshman class. And you can say, well, there's some coach speak in there, and that's fine. That's fair. You do have to kind of build that in. But in just trying to learn, you know, we've heard from Shane Beamer for a long time, whether it was him as an assistant here, certainly him as a head coach. You try to kind of figure out what's meaningful. And I still, you just mentioned Emmanwori. I remember some of the things that Beamer said about him as a summer enrollee, actually, going into his freshman year. And then those things end up playing out. Like, there's things he doesn't have to say. He could just leave it as, they've been good. I've liked all of them. You know, he kind of goes a little bit deeper. And I think with him, there's some meaning to that. First of all, you're happy to hear that the freshman class has come in and been impressive, where, you know, the line that he said that he doesn't look at any of them and think that they're a year or two away. That doesn't mean they're all going to play a ton this year, obviously. But, man, in this era, something you're always trying to balance is, okay, everybody, for the most part, costs money to bring in. You have to make investments, frankly, from an NIL standpoint. Do we go to the portal? Do we take high schoolers? And for South Carolina, lately, they've taken big portal classes and tried to be, we're seeing them, I think, get more and more selective in the high school ranks. So when you take a high school kid, if you're investing, you got to be as sure as possible on them. And another part is, you can't say, you know, there's a few guys you can take as developmental. Hey, this will take a few years. But you got to take more guys that are ready right now. And to do that, of course, that typically means better talent, higher investment, more competition for that player. So I think that's a positive to hear that about this team. Number two, you know, Beamer, and he's always been like this, he's not going to single out guys as much in that freshman class, which you understand. But I thought it was telling, just as you said, Wes, that he did bring up, hey, the freshman DBs, right? Those are guys that have the skill set and body type to play on special teams. It's a pathway for them to get on the field in year one. Think about all those kids. When you look at them, if you said, this is a junior in Columbia, you'd go, okay. Like, they all physically are impressive. I remember the first time I saw Cassie Barnes, I think it was summer before he was going into his senior year. I was like, man, this kid is even bigger than I thought. You know, you see his listed size, but he's filled out. Tristan Lewis long kid. High school staff at Greenwood absolutely loved him. Current, she just covered, Wes. Like, these guys are all physically impressive, and they've got football IQ. They're gamers, right? So I thought that was telling to bring up that group. He brought up all of them, right, in that group. But I think that was, positive to hear for Gamecock fans.
Yeah, I think with Kasi, man, that's a guy. It's not going to shock me. And it's one of those things where I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But it would not be shocking at all if we start getting into the summer and into the preseason, actual camp, if there was talk about, hey, this Kasi Barnes guy is going to find his way on the field in some way. I think there's some position versatility here. He is someone who can go out there and can cover at corner. He has that length. He has that size that we know that Torian Gray very much covets. But also, he played a ton of nickelback in his high school career and really was one of these guys. It was a little bit for them, and they – where he's from, they're Grimsley, like they're a loaded team. Like it was a little bit to me, I think, hey, this guy is definitely one of our best player on defense. Let's just move him around and put him in a spot where he can go make plays. And so maybe it wasn't even necessarily go lock down one side of the field at corner. It was let's get you a little bit closer to the ball and let you go make tackles and make plays. And he's a willing tackler. Another guy with, I would say, end of high school career kind of mobility in terms of his ranking going up, which I think when you look at having that momentum, that is typically a pretty good sign. So, again, too early to make that prediction, but it's one of those things, just not going to be shocked if this guy continues that momentum and we start hearing, hey, Kasi Barnes is going to be a player for this team. And frankly, it would be par for the course at this point with Torian Gray that you have, and Kasi was a 4-star by the end of the process, but really was not, when he committed to South Carolina, someone that had been, tagged with, this is a top 250 player in the country type athlete.
Well, we'll see what Beamer continues to say about the freshman as spring practice rolls along and all those guys coming in. As early enrollees, after going through the recruiting process, there's a pretty notable name out there that's lighting up recruiting websites that hasn't played football before. We'll discuss that coming up next to wrap up the hour. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs here on The Game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence. Gamecock fans, get ready for something new this season. Charleston now has a new station for Carolina sports talk. Dial in to 96.9 The Game on HD3. Head to 96.9 FM and on an HD radio, punch into HD Channel 3. You'll unleash live Carolina coverage you can listen to all day long. New on HD3. It's 96.9 The Game HD3, South Carolina's newest sports station.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Really strong win by the Boston Celtics last night over the Oklahoma City Thunder in Beantown in a potential NBA Finals preview. And Jaylen Brown was magnificent in the game. Jason Tatum looked good as well. So if we get an NBA Finals matchup between these two teams, I think the series is going to be great, but I don't think the results will be the same. Oklahoma City better than Boston, easing Jalen Williams back into the lineup. Give me the Thunder. I'm Nick Costos.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I left the pizza box on top of my car before driving home. Not smart. Oh, and a semi just turned my deep dish into a thin crust.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
DQ presents the Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up. Served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve. Plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Swisey menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy, tastes good. Participation may vary.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, Flo here from Progressive. You know, life changes quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, you mean like adding another vehicle?
Yes, that's something we can do.
Great, because I was thinking about getting a van so we could just keep the kids' softball stuff in the car.
Oh, we don't need to get into specifics. Just saying it's easy to change.
Oh, and Hannah wants to try the tuba.
Again, we don't need the specifics.
Last year, she wanted to be a tap dancer, but that only lasted 2 lessons.
Okay.
But she kept the shoes because they are adorable.
Well, just know that with Progressive, you can easily add another car to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
My family just went for something to do on a nice spring Saturday, and wow.
You want fun? You want adventure? You need to experience Tartan Day South Celtic Festival, built by Culpeper Wood. Check out the Highland Games, strongman competitions that will make you want to put on a kilt, concerts, dancing, a parade, a British car show. We've got animal shows, knights in armour, and birds of prey that kids will love. Learn about the Celtic influence on our nation's founding as we celebrate 250 years. But there's so much more. The fun starts with a rocking and rollicking Celtic concert, Friday, March 27th at the Icehouse Amphitheatre, that will make you get up and dance. Then celebrate with a full day of festivities on Saturday at the historic Columbia Speedway. Kids under 12 getting free March 27th and 28th. Get your tickets now at tartandaysouth.com. We promise you're going to love it.
It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. My kids and I were blown away.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Well, welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, West, and Chris along with you on your Thursday here on the Game, wrapping up the hour. Of course, Wes and Chris have been covering the recruiting scene for a very long time. I'm sure you guys have seen a little bit of everything. You ever seen a guy that's never played a snap of organized football, American football that is, generate as much buzz as Neff Giwa is getting over the course of the past couple days? The Nigerian-born Irish rugby player that stands 6'7", 295 pounds, that is seemingly on his way to being a college football tackle at some point in the near future. That is Bruce Feldman had an article in The Athletic, and everybody wants this guy apparently, including South Carolina.
Yeah, Chris has a better memory than I do, so maybe he can pull a name, you know, that there have been guys take similar paths or similar stories where it's like, hey, this guy really has not played football. However, all of a sudden you kind of get enamored with just the ridiculous traits. And football and recruiting ultimately is a traits game. And the case with this guy is that the traits aren't just like, oh, yeah, like that guy can play, potentially. The traits are just so off the charts that you're going, okay, we'll take a chance on this. We'll take a chance on this guy. You know, I think it's kind of, it is a little bit dangerous to put too high of expectations, regardless of those traits, on a guy in year one or even year 2 or 3 at a developmental position like the offensive line. But, I mean, little bit different, I would say, level to this. But, Chris, you had right here in state with Franklin Whitley from Greenville. That would have been what? Was that last summer
Last cycle, yeah.
Yeah, and this was a kid who was a great basketball player, and he goes to Georgia camp and to play football because he was going to play ball this year, and lands an offer, without playing. He hadn't played a varsity snap yet at that point, had he? Like, it was, so not quite the same, but there are situations, and Whitley is currently he committed and signed with Florida State. So it does happen if you have guys that just have ridiculous traits. But you would hope that there is a little bit of actual American football experience.
Yeah, and I think you see some, maybe not the same, but similar situations, like you said, Wes. And I mean, you even think of, the NFL. There's been some guys that have caught on and played in the NFL and played quite well, who, maybe didn't play college football. Like the one that always comes to mind, like Antonio Gates, right? I honestly don't know. Did he play football in Pee Wee or Pop Warner growing up? Like, I don't know for sure. But in college, he was a basketball player, and catches on with the NFL, becomes a legendary tight end. Stephen Neal, who played for the Patriots back in the day, he was a collegiate wrestler, So this is a little bit different because it's a younger kid. Like, it's an international guy, and we're seeing more and more of that. Like, he's part of the PPI organization with Brandon Collier, who has found a lot of international talent, whether, Neff plays rugby in Ireland, right? He'll go down to Africa and find talent down there. And these guys, I mean, there's a lot of kids signing with big time programs, and a lot of them have very limited football experience. But you put it best, I think, Wes, traits, right? Like, just looking at traits, football's still a developmental game. And while you're still trying to find, we were just talking last segment, you're trying to find guys who can contribute early. When you find guys that have these elite athletic traits that can translate, then it becomes intriguing to potentially add them, see what you can teach them, because they've got some things that you can't teach with size, athleticism, and some skills that can translate to the football field. So as the, continues growing internationally, it's not, at least anytime soon, going to become, soccer, where American football is this huge international sport. It is growing, but I think we're going to see more and more kids that are pulled in from different backgrounds to, hey, you should give football a try because you've got some traits that are potentially pretty rare at that level.
Now, do we know if he's visited here yet or not? I know Carolina's in the mix.
Yeah, he's visited here, I think twice, actually. Don't quote me on that, but he's definitely been on campus within the last week or so, and I think he kind of made two somewhat back-to-back visits. So yeah, he's been here. It seemed like, looking at some of his comments after that Miami visit, maybe they made an impression, but also I think other schools are probably other schools can't help themselves now that they've seen the hype about the guy. So we'll see. I haven't really seen anything in the last couple of days. I don't know if you have, Chris.
No, I went to South Carolina pretty recently, went to Miami. Seems like Miami, and that's a program that Bruce Feldman was talking about a lot in the piece that he wrote on Neff Giwa. It's kind of just outside looking in a little bit on that one. Seems like they have a good bit of traction, but someone they're involved with, we'll see. Not really sure yet where he's going to end up going, but again, another one that's in kind of that pipeline. I mean, Georgia, Tyler, signed Valdon Sone, who, Wes, remember watching that cat at camp last summer?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, an unbelievable defensive tackle prospect. It did have some football experience, but, just really interesting background. He was the son of some immigrants who moved to Sweden. He grew up playing soccer. He did taekwondo, did a football combine in Germany, and then started playing football and just took off, and just an unbelievable prospect. So
we'll keep our eyes on what Neff Giwa ultimately decides to do, but Carolina is in the mix there. That'll do it for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs here in the game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Hey guys, do you want male performance in the bedroom and do you want it now? Get it in 47 seconds or less. For the first time, you can have instant male enhancement. Introducing Knox 47, the topical male enhancement that works in 47 seconds or less. Satisfaction guaranteed. Finally, after years of scientific research, our proprietary formula will allow you to perform in the bedroom like never before. Just imagine that little blue pill on steroids. No reason to settle and wait when you can get instant performance now. Forget about pills and potions that make you wait hours or up to 30 days to work. That's yesterday's news. Knox 47 is brand new. The hottest thing for men. And you don't need a prescription. Call now and get your free supply for a limited time.
To find out how to get Knox 47 for free, call now. 800-647-8593. That's 800-647-8593. Free bottles for limited time. Call 800-647-8593. That's 800-647-8593.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports